TNGO, we got the Piper, we got Mark's Cars. I guess he likes cars. Maybe he's friends with Randy. Jeremy Newman, already mentioned him.
We have no idea.
Say that again?
Maybe they're besties. We
Maybe.
have no idea.
We don't know. We got Fulton Blake, Trader Lucy, and AJ Vic, Jan Novak, as well as Ronaldo. So everything's good on that end. How are you this morning, Adair?
I'm great. How are you this fine? Oh, I know you're pretty well. I know you're doing pretty well right now. I know something you guys are going to do in a second there. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm sure you have a lot you want to talk about today. So how are you doing?
Yeah, let's get to it. So I just want to show you guys something on the 30-minute chart here on AAPL. There is an obvious area of resistance at the 213 area. And it was acting as a prior area of support, and it has flipped to resistance. And this has been a multi-day play. This is the level I'm talking about. This is the 30-minute look. Allow me to add in pre-market data so you can see the bottom wicks over here. But this has been a rinse and repeat level on Apple as of yesterday and today. This is that 213 area that we were defending on August 1st, August 2nd. Then we gave way big time. This is when Uncle Warren announced that he sold half his Apple stake, and now that 213, my friends, has been an area of obvious support. I should alert you to the fact that we are putting in higher lows with this 213 flat top. So I'm not making any insinuations that we're going to break that 213 anytime soon, but it is something to be on the lookout for. It was an obvious area, and it printed up a storm yesterday. If you took that 213 and change, you could have held that down into 208. You could have done that as well on the 5th, and you could have done that today as well. And that's exactly what I did. So we weaseled up into around 213. I waited, as my friend Neil likes to say, I got it on the back end to prove to me that that 213 was in fact going to be a level, and in fact was. So we wet our beak there nicely. We got in at mid 60s, took everything out in the mid 20s. So nice little 40 penny winner here, Adair, as it weasels its way into 212. But I know that there's a level you're looking at on Apple. Share it.
Yeah, it looks okay. I wouldn't have gotten it. I was like, oh, I missed it, but I didn't really get it. I like 211.50s. I'm willing to be a little bit with a lot. Like if I don't get exactly 211.50s, I'm willing to go with like 211.65s. That I think would have almost come in. Oh, sorry, 75s would actually came in here. But I want to explain why I like this, because I actually had an eye on this level from yesterday, and today we got this beautiful chop and turn and bounce. So like I was like, okay, Apple, you want to keep being a level. Let me zoom out though to show you guys what I mean. I'm going to see if I can give us. Okay, so yeah, I was looking at this chart yesterday, and this 211.50, I was kicking myself for not noticing. Bounce here, we bounce again, confluence with VWAP, we reject, and then we quadunk. We try to break back above 211s. Apple's like, nah, I'm good though. Thank you for asking. So interesting look here for me for Apple for 211.50. It was a level yesterday that clearly became interesting today as well. I actually right now though, I know yesterday I took a little trip to Disney World, hung out in DIS with the House of Mouse, and I still have it in my side chart as a day 2 play, and I actually like it today as a long. I was shorting it aggressively yesterday, but look at this long setup here. Clear resistance here. Like, what is this? 80 45s-ish, 80 40s. We break below, we chop higher, and look where we're trying to push up. And honestly, we're talking about multi-time frame confirmation. I talked about it a lot yesterday. Shout out to Sharif for his Apple multi-time frame confirmation.
Thank you, there.
I would say the higher time frame you go in Disney, the more bullish this looks to me. All of these bottoming tail candles pushing up at this level. I don't know how far we'll be able to get here into this park, but I would love to take profits at 85.80, which is kind of near one of those pre-market highs. Should we be able to get it? This thing sold off like a stone yesterday, sold off a lot earlier today. I like this recovery. I know it could be a short here, but to me, especially multi-time frame, it looks like we're actually resting at that previous resistance. I'm looking for, what price do I have here? 39s. That might be a little frugal. We'll try for 42s. We'll see. I don't mind chasing if it's 2 pennies, guys. But let's see how things go there in the House of Mouse. But one thing you also have to remember too is learning is vital. Absolutely,
guys. In case you don't know, we are talking about earnings trades all week long. Today, we'll get a little bit more nuanced. We'll talk about analyzing that price action before the earnings release. So let's get right to it. No time to waste. So predicting stock movements can be challenging. Of course, who knew? But understanding pre-earnings price action can give you that competitive advantage by being ready. So let's talk up a storm about just that. So we're going to talk about some pre-earnings price patterns, like price action patterns, okay? We're going to talk about gaps up, gaps down. We're going to talk about bullish and bearish flags. These are only some of the patterns you should be looking for prior to the earnings release. Let's get right to it. So gaps up. We did an entire week on gaps, so everybody should be good and refreshed with these concepts. While gaps up can occur for various reasons, obviously, A pre-earnings gap often signals high investor expectations. I wonder if they know something we don't know, Dara. It's important to consider the magnitude of the gap and the overall market sentiment when making your gap analysis. And obviously, a large gap up on low volume, low volume might indicate here excessive optimism and a potential for a post-earnings pullback. How many times have we talked about gaps being accompanied by the requisite volume and not low volume? Again, your analysis here should be based on the volume bars surrounding the volume bar you're analyzing. You don't need to go too far back. And here basically is an Apple gap up before that big earnings, and I put them in big white arrows over here. So this is when we found out about Apple's AI initiative, and that was obviously released before the earnings release over here in mid to early June. So this was the earnings release. This is the gap up above this 180 area of local resistance. So this gap up over here helped, kind of set things in motion before that earnings release came and really started pushing things up. So keep on the lookout for pre-earning gap up. And this one is accompanied by outsized volume, as you can see. So it wasn't low volume like the candles around it, it was on the requisite volume. Let's talk about these gap downs, I should say. A pre-earnings gap down conversely can indicate negative sentiment or profit taking, sadly, well, not sadly, ahead of the earnings report. However, it's essential for you to assess the underlying reasons for the gap, isn't it always? A small gap down on high volume might suggest a buying opportunity for those anticipating a positive earnings surprise. So make sure you are jiving with that and you understand the reasons for everything happening. Here is basically a pre-gap down. This one included pre-market hours, hence you can't really see the gap. But this was a gap down on NFLX before that brutal year in 2022 when they gapped down 21% and another 35% on these earnings misses. But looks like things were already in motion to the downside as a result of this gap in early 2022. Bullish flags, love these, right? Bullish flags, a bullish flag pattern, obviously we know what this is, but a bullish flag pattern preceding earnings can be a bullish sign, but it's crucial to consider its timing. Essentially, a flag that forms in the final week before earnings might indicate a consolidation before a potential breakout if the earnings are positive. So again, operative here, the operative word is consider its timing, or the operative phrase is consider the timing. So if it took place very close, very recently to the earnings surprise or miss, it could be, or in this case, because it's a bullish flag, it has to be an earnings beat. Bearish, or actually I should point this out. So this was another bullish flag here on AAPL. So we were kind of like whiffling and waffling, and then we get that continued move up. So this is kind of what you're looking for here with respect to a bull flag. There's the pull, there's your pullback. It doesn't pull back more than 2/3, and there's the top break at 220. Bearish flags. A bearish flag before earnings can be a warning sign suggesting potential downside pressure. However, as always, it's important to evaluate the overall market conditions and the strength of the downtrend. And here's kind of what we're looking at with respect to a bear flag on CAT. So who remembers this back in the fall of 2023? We were moving down, set up a bit of a bear flag here with this candle, and there the gap down comes. We bottom out on CAT 220, and then we all know the story from then on from Caterpillar. We haven't looked back near anything below 300 quite yet. So there is the look. So we gap down, we have a bit of a bear flag, and then the gap comes subsequent to that bear flag. So the market was anticipating the right thing in this case. Let's talk also about the importance of support and resistance, specifically for understanding the potential price movements around the earnings release. Let's get to that. So dynamic support and resistance. So what does this mean? So unlike traditional areas of support and resistance, those that are around earnings tend to be a bit more dynamic. They can shift rapidly due to the increased volatility in the market sentiment as we all anticipate that earnings release. And you always have repositioning, big money getting in before the earnings release, people taking profit, getting out if they have a bearish forecast. So there's typically a lot of volatility for these bigger names as we get into that earnings report. So make sure that you account for that volatility by understanding that the support and resistance zones during that time may be a little bit dynamic. Let's talk about some pre-earnings support though. Identify recent support levels before the earnings report comes out. A strong hold above that level that you've identified can indicate bullish sentiment and a potential upside if the earnings are positive. However, a breakdown below that key area of support that you've identified could signal increased down risk. Resistance as well as a form of profit or an area of profit taking. So if you've charted a stock and you before earnings and you know, for example, let's just say a random number out there, 250, okay, and you know that that's a key level of resistance, you may, and we're already near that 250 area before we break out, you may want to wet your beak on some profits, okay? Last but not least, post-earnings support and resistance. So after the earnings is released, be prepared for a shift, obviously, in the support and resistance levels after that earnings report drops. A new trading range might form, based on the post-earnings price action. So make sure you are ready to deal with that, Adair.
Yeah, I just took $1 on the SPY, so I want to talk about it. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm actually really proud. I stayed calm through that trade. There was no whooping, there was no hollering. There was just staring at this giant red candle forming on the S&P 500. Shout out to DJ Marshall, who said he was in this trade with me as well. But I also want to shout out Jay Lee, because I saw in the chat, Jay Lee was like, pull up the TQ chart, like this looks like a short. And I like kind of had it in mind. I was like, you know what, like maybe. But like I've said this before, I don't know what it is. I cannot trade the TQ, and I don't want to say never because things can always change, but I really do, for whatever reason, find that I compare, like SPY, I feel way better about levels on. TQ, and I think it might be the leveredness, the fact that it's levered. That honestly, that would be my guess. I just really have a bit of an issue with it. So I decided to go with the SPY as I saw this move down in the market. When I was looking at it, we were at 528. So if we break down below 528, retest, you get short there. We barely got above. I got initially involved in the SPY there at 527.94s. That was my first point of entry. Got in, we dropped, cool. I took out 2/3 of the position at 67s, which is kind of that wick area. We bounced up there. I said, cool, let's go. Then I added back in when we got back up near 528s, dropped back down, got another piece out at the same place. Then I was looking to add again. I was saying if we flip from support to resistance on the SPY around like 60, 70s, I'm willing to add. That didn't happen. We dropped lower. Then I was like, hey, if we come back, get below, and then reject again at 527, like 25s, that previous area around the 90 MA, I was like, okay, cool. I'm down to add. Again, that did not happen. We got below 526 decisively and paused. I got out. So please, 527s, I mean. So please just punch with that. Happy with what I did, but ready to keep trading, guys. Because where's the next trade? As Obi says. Also, shout out to Kyle Burdett for the $5 super chat. A big smile, I'm sure, has a big smile on his face. Let's go, Adira, get down. Currently not getting down, but as I said, I'm willing to get back in, depending on what I see here at that previous support resistance flip. We'll wait and see. I don't want to, hop into any trades that I don't feel good about. That, to me, with that rounded top, we had the bottoming tail candles, but other than that, to me, the general confluence, the balance of the evidence was telling me to go short. So happy I did indeed hop into that short. Also too, because the thing is, I was a little bummed out. I didn't get my Disney. I wanted my Disney long 85.40s, and depending on what we do here, that actually could be a vibe. I think I had I switched my order to entry point to 85.42s. We got there on the bid, never got there on the ask. Alas, I was not asked to come into the Disney park. But that's what I mean. Sometimes trades don't work out. You can't chase it. You just got to go find another opportunity. I'm going to stop ranting here, but thank you guys so much for the support in this here chat. And if you have any tickers you want to look at, get in that chat. Exclamation point join, space, $, whatever tickers are fancy. Maybe it is NVDA, maybe it is IWM, maybe it is Disney, maybe it's Datadog. Look at that. I don't know. Maybe it's Lily, which, by the way, girl, I have eyes on you. I'm going to stop ranting for a bit here, but I will talk about Lily when we come back. How are you doing over here, Sharif?
Good. I missed this 500 on Meta. It did drop right into volume-weighted average price, and that was right at the $500 level. So here it is, VWAP 500.25, thereabouts 500.33. This candle, which dipped, held exactly at $500.11. So literally does defend that level, and it moved up to about about 501.5-ish. I mean, it's not really blown away or anything like that. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. I have a couple of levels that I want to talk about. That 213 is an important level for me on Apple. I already talked about that. Tesla as well, a $200 level. That goes back to yesterday, a little zag through that. This one got into 199.5, but didn't quite make it up into 200 yet. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's talk about some other small cap gappers over here. I've got LUMN on board, HROW, XPEL, Rivian, APPS, SKYT. These are all in play. Shopify, second day play as well. It's trading literally at the highs right now, just printed 67.30, a little bit off that. I shouldn't say it's literally because it was kind of a little bit off, but good look right now for Shop. A lot of these ones are actually in play. Let's talk about the small cap gappers that I've got on here. HRO. Let me give you a little bit of information on this one. This is let's pull it up over here. There we go. This is not a small cap gapper. This is a $1.1 billion market cap. It's done about 2 million shares in volume, and it's about 30 million share float. Let's put a look over here. HRO. And it's got about a 19% short float. So this one reported yesterday, and as you can see, after the bell, and it was an earnings win just by analyzing the price action there. A bit of a resistance top at 33 1/3, but holding the 10 exponential. This one looks good. Let's see if it can continue to move up. XPEL, give you the details on this one as well. About 40% right now, high, about $1.22 billion market cap. It's got about 461,000 shares traded on the day, so this is a little light, and it's a little concerning. 21.5 million share float, and XPEL. Let's find out the short float. About 10.25% of the short float of the float is shorted. So I'll be looking possibly for VWAP here to defend at that $43.50 level. SKYT as well I've got on board, but this one really kind of breaking down below VWAP and not much in the way of volume. APPS, this one Adair put on the watch list. It's sadly though broken below the volume weighted average price. Trying to hold at 2 1/3 right now, weaseling its way back into 2.5. Let's see if we can get a possible rejection off the volume weighted average price at 255. It hasn't quite made its way up there. And Shopify, as I mentioned, this one really moving up a storm. LUMN, Neil mentioned that. This one did the umbrella pattern, as Adair likes to call it, kind of went all the way down.
Yeah, it did.
Punched back up into 5 1/3, and it was a short to pop kind of situation. So down into 5, looking to defend $5 though, Adair. We'll see if it can break down below that.
That's a clean umbrella handle pattern. Yeah, no, I basically, I don't want to say coin. People say there's other terms for it, but I started noticing it a couple times. I would try to go long, then move up. But with the umbrella handle pattern, I find the steeper it is, the sharper that little pop is, the more I think it may, there might be more rain to the downside there. But yeah, so TQs, I got short. I know I just said, oh, I don't really like turning the Qs. I don't still. I honestly felt way comfier in the SPY for whatever reason. But I like this TQs. Basically the thing was I wanted to short a futures here because I thought that we did have, like that. I like the whole lower level in the SPY. I tried to get 527, but I was really patient for that 527 retest and breakdown. Wasn't able to get filled, said, cool, don't chase. TQs, though, also having kind of a similar look here. We get up into that previous little shelf area, we wick up, and then we break down. So I'm risking this into roughly 56, 60s. I know I said I don't like necessarily using price dollar levels as my stop, so I'm not solely using as price dollar level. If I see stuff I don't like in the book, I'll get out. But we are kind of grinding a little bit lower here. Not a huge position, like enough to get me excited, but nothing too crazily sized. Happy I tried the TQs. We'll see if I stay happy about that. But the thing is, a scared trader is a deficient trader. If I see a look I like, and honestly the futures to me looking pretty similar, whether you're trading a SPY derivative or a Q derivative or like NASDAQ derivative, sorry. I do not, though, however, like the way we bounced here off 56.35s in any way, shape, or form. So SPY coming back to 527. I don't want to have to use the SPY as my anchor for trading the TQs. That would be kind of an odd decision, but I am going to be cross-referencing them a bit. So I'm going to let my Qs whiffle and waffle here while I look at Eli Lilly. Lily. Hi, girl. Okay, so the reason I had one level, well, I had a couple levels in Eli Lilly. I'd be lying if I said I had one. I have a few levels in Eli Lilly. My main level, though, in Eli Lilly actually would have worked out had it been, not happened in the pre-market, and that's that 867. I was watching the book at 867. We had a lot of support here. Resistance, then we form a support. get higher, and then we resistance. Oh, we try to go higher, low, then we break down. I loved 867. There's not a level in Lily that I like as much as 867, with the exception of this area. Support to resistance flip around VWAP, around 850. That is the only level I like as much. TQs, though, getting a little dicey. So we're going to have to hop out. We're going to have to get out of the TQs here. I'm going to pass it over to you.
Yep.
But Lily, girl, I'm still looking at you. How are you doing?
I like that. I just took 30 pennies quickly here on Meta. I'm looking to wet my beak at 75s. I'm looking essentially to defend around that 500 area. It's also VWAP. We're going to give this the old, community college try, or whatever the kids are saying these days. There's obviously a seller at the $0.50. I've already de-risked. My out here is the break of 499.5. So that's the line in the sand. So we're already profitable on this name, looking to get a bit more profitable, but I want to give it room. Obviously, it is Meta, and Meta, Adira lovingly calls it spreada because, well, yeah, no, I know, good point. I shouldn't have said that because I don't think it's actually lovingly at all. But yeah. Obviously, Meta is kind of modus operandi is it has a large spread, and the spread often costs you money just getting in and getting out of the position. So we're printing. Here comes we printed 63s there. Let's see if we can move up. I'm waiting around 75, around the $0.75 if we can wet our beak in and around that area. But there's obviously a bit of a seller at the $0.50. Anemic bounces from what I'm seeing so far, especially as compared to the future. So I'm looking at the future. I'm talking about the NQ September contract. The bounce that it had off the 20 exponential on the 5 is much more robust than this anemic bounce we're getting on Meta right now at the volume weighted average price. So I'm not pleased. But, the market doesn't care if I'm pleased or not, quite frankly. So a bit of weakness right now on Meta. I guess maybe all the strength is gone because it was definitely the one of the best performing ones on the day. Up ahead of Meta, is NVIDIA as well as Tesla. There we go. Now we get to 75 pennies Adira. All right, nice. So that was a good trade there. We hold up at the volume weighted average price. So that trade is now complete. It's all done there. So we'll remove the stops that we had so that we don't get short by accident. So it looks as if here the market did catch a bit of a local bounce. It doesn't have to be sustained, but local it is. I'm looking at the future, and we're looking at weaseling possibly into 18.4 again. We'll have to see what the sitch is there. Let's have a look at some of the Mag 7 names because we didn't wax poetic, to use an Adira term, on any of the Mag 7 names quite yet, except for Apple. Now let's talk. We talked about Meta and how the VWAP got held up. For now, underlined for now. What I see here is some respect for VWAP amongst these Mag 7 names and some obvious disrespect. The disrespecters are Microsoft and Apple. They breached the volume weighted average price. Both seem to have found some local support at the 50 exponential on the 5, not a moving average I typically use intraday, but Microsoft finding beautiful bounce at the 50 exponential. In addition to that, Microsoft also has respected the 50 earlier on at around 945, 940, 950. There was this little trough area which obviously held up at the 50, and we're doing that same hold up with the 50 again. I got to tell you, I think over the last couple of days I did mention, I think more than one occasion, that Microsoft has been respecting the 50 on the 5. Much to my amazement, because I typically don't see these guys respecting the 50 on the 5 all that much. That's just my observation. I could be wrong. So here we go. Microsoft, Apple, both finding that area right there. Now, the stronger ones, like the Teslas and maybe the goggles, these ones didn't even move down below the 20. Goggles got a bump there at that 162.25, right at the 20 exponential. And Tesla was just so strong it didn't even weasel down into the 20 exponential, which is hanging out around 197.33. Worst it could do was that $0.50, 197.50, and now it's at 198. Still lower highs though. We still haven't printed anything at that $200 level. In fact, we haven't even breached the $0.50. 199.46 is that high a day. Tesla is going to be more interesting to me at VWAP or this 196 area where where it happens, where VWAP is now. Only reason is there's this area consolidation that we had right at the bell there. This looks like the opening print high, 196 and change. So if we clear that by $3.50, I want to see if we can hold up there as a level of support. So much do I like that level that I'm going to add another alert. So I've got 2 alerts now on Tesla. We're going to put it at 196 $1/4 and see what comes from that, Adair.
Yeah, so I took a hit on the Qs there, and I'm a little bit disappointed in myself with that trade because I'm like, you know, you said you don't really do this. It's not a thing you do. If you couldn't get entered in the spot, why are you not just waiting, right? So happy I was happy I got out where I did. We got above that 60s in a decisive way. I got out, followed my rules, but honestly, the main rule was, why are you getting into the Qs, girls? You know, you live, you learn, you win some, you lose some. Still really happy with what I did in the SPY. This thing with the TQs does not negate the other trade, right? You have to find where the next trade is. You got to keep going, got to keep pushing. And there's something I kind of like in MicroStrategies. And if you're looking at this, I think you might assume correctly that what I like is a range. I like this 135 to 133, I guess 132.50 range. My only issue is this range is like very widespread. Quite literally, the spread is wide. That was an accidental pun. But it also is a little bit chop and a little bit churn. It's not as clean as I want it to be. But in the meantime, Eric Russo, mentioning another name that I've played on and now I have failed to get involved in not once but twice, Disney. Eric Russo saying thoughts on Disney going down. I like it as a short now. I know I initially liked it as long as we were bouncing off 85.40. That would have worked for the time being. It would have given you, when I say you, I mean me, 20 pennies. But now I actually think Disney is back to doing its little short action that it did yesterday. It tried to break above this previous area of resistance we had in the pre-market, the previous area of resistance. And the most it could get above that was like, honestly, 25 pennies, barely. So I actually think it's a short here. I tried to get involved 85.40s. And Disney was like, yeah, cool, I'm not going to do that, though. And I was like, okay, Disney, I understand. One thing I don't like is how well we're holding this base of 85.25s. That I dislike immensely, but I think if we break that base, it'll be a nice look. I want to see us get to 85.40s, get and reject. I would be risking here into like, I would add at 50s, get out at 55. I still have to figure out my risk reward principle was the other reason I haven't gotten in on this yet. But Disney, I do agree, Eric Russo. I think it's an interesting one going down.
Down.
Lily. Okay, so Lily, if you could successfully pop above that support resistance area, and I watched this on the book. The book was real. The block was hot. The block boys were hot. Things were happening here. To shout out to Obi with the block boys. The 830, this 837 area is a little bit interesting. However, you have 2 things to keep in mind with Lily: the volatility and this ginormous spread. That spread needs some Manjaro. The spread needs some Wagovi here, okay? That spread needs to get a little bit thinner. I don't like this wide spread I got here.
You're body shaming the spread, Adara?
I am.
I like it.
You know what? Sometimes you gotta.
I like it, Adara.
Sometimes you gotta. Meta needs like a filter on its spread and like, you know, like an Instagram filter. I'm sorry. Fabian telling us this is a safe space. Honestly, I would feel safer, Fabian, if this Lily spread was more manageable. But anyways, so my plan, if I were to take an Eli Lilly trade, the thing I want to clarify too, the rules are going to be even tighter because I would have to risk a decent amount of my total risk on the day to be able to risk this effectively just the way that it moves. So if I take one, it's going to have, the risk reward ratio is going to have to be nuts. It's going to have to be like at least 3 to 1, if not higher. And I would have to be risking a teeny tiny amount, and the spread would have to be like a lot more manageable. So with those caveats in mind, I'm considering Lily potentially, but it's not one that I'm going to rush into unless every single duck is in a row. Happy I got out of Disney, or happy I didn't get into Disney, by the way, because now the thing's trying to balance. But Disney, if you want to range like 85.60s to 85.20s, I would enter this range with a skosh of trepidation. But that being said, I like that we're kind of having a little bit of a failure here at 85.50s. We're going to try this range here, Sharif.
All right.
I believe in the mouse house.
I believe in you. Let's go. MGOL, guys, is moving big here. I just yelled this out to Neil. I don't know what the hell is going on with this, but the volume just started coming in at 11:20, and now we're 11. This is just a few 5-minute candles. I know it started moving earlier, but the moves were zigging and zag. It was making higher highs, sure. But look at this volume. It just started coming in 10 minutes ago. There's nothing on my blotter to account for this, but MGOL has been moving. I mean, look at the movement here on the 2nd. This is the movement on the 5th, zigging and zagging on the 6th, and then dead weight yesterday. Today, for whatever reason, midday, the volume coming in fast and furious right now. Let me refresh your memory about MGOL. It's a $7 million market cap, and it's traded so far 1.25 million shares on the day. I think that that's really going to skyrocket. 6.3 million share float. Let's bring down Trade Ideas and shout out the NOS boss and his crew there over at Trade Ideas. And we're working with about an 8% short float, or they're about 7.93%. But I should tell you that the float on Trade Ideas substantially lower than the one on my platform. I mentioned 6.3 million share float. Trade Ideas has it earmarked here at 805,000. So take your pick as to who you want to believe. 397 high a day. We're zigging here. Looks like we're going to touch 4. Let's zoom out and find out if 4 has been an area resistance. And the answer is yes. So there are areas over here off which we've rejected 4. Are you surprised by that? I'm not, because, well, $4 is a whole dollar level, and these areas, or these small cap gappers, typically tend to reject. What is going on back there? Is he okay? Do you want warm milk? He's like, only if it comes from, I don't even watch.
What's happening?
I don't know. Brenkles is crying. I asked him if you need more milk. Love Brenkles. Shout out to Brenkles. He's the floor manager.
Shout out, guys.
Yeah. There he is, baby. There's Wainers anyway. Obi, we see you, Obi. Anyway, $3.99 right now. HOD on MOGL. These typically tend to respect the
clean.
Poor Neil.
Oh, now Neil's chilling.
There's Patty. There's Patty Ice. Patty, say hi to everybody.
It's the boys over there.
Say hi. There you go,
Hi,
Patty. There
Ice.
you go, Patty Ice. BPI, big Patty Ice. No, not CPI, BPI, people.
It's the Mara indicator of Trader TV.
Love that. That's actually quite apt.
It's accurate, right?
And we always see him battling with Mara, too. He's battling up a storm with Mara, and you can tell, like, when he's
got thoughts on Mara.
Yeah, he does. So anyway, that's the situation right now with MGOL. I think it behooves us to load up this bad boy. We're going to leave the Apple screen because we may need that. We're going to need Tesla as well because we're setting up trades for that. We'll get rid of Rivian, and we'll load up MGOL so we can have a look at that. And when Neil waddles back from the bathroom, I'm going to ask him if he can get me some possible shorts as we zig and zag Adara into that $4 area.
Yeah, so I actually was able to get into the theme park. I'm really proud to say Disney was like, hey, Adara, this is, the greatest place on earth is the Disney stock. So we'll see if it is for me yet. I got that short. I like this range. I'm willing to keep a piece of the dream here if we get to the range. I'm actually also willing to add into the range. I already added here. I will admit this is a fat finger. The first part of the position, 85.50s. I was trying to add earlier if we got to like 85.38s, meant to set that order. Instead, punched in at the price we were at. To be clear, honestly, and the reason I didn't get out all of it right away is because I would have added anyway, right? And it's honestly a better price than I would have had it at. So I'm okay with that. I know that is generally not the move, but with that in mind, I'm maybe not going to add where I was going to add here at 85.38 because I already have a bit of a sizable position here. That being said, if I see any breakdown below 85.38s, 85.40s, because we know I like that area, if we break down below, retest, then I will add there, trying to be pretty... not frugal, you have a decent sized position, but I want to be cautious, I want to be careful. I want to make sure I'm making decisions that make sense. But yeah, shout out to BPI, the Mara indicator there. Speaking of Mara, one of its crypto stock cousins, MSTR, we know that announced its MicroStrategies, its SaaS solution on AWS. Today, in addition to its stock split, which honestly, great timing to make an announcement the day you split. That's a really smart move, guys.
Sorry, can I ask about that? What's SaaS?
It's like SaaS. So they announced it's like for governments or something.
Oh,
I don't know. I read the news blog, like the news heading of it like 4 times, and I still don't really know what they're trying to get at there.
Interesting.
But yeah, they have a SaaS solution. It's available through Amazon Web Services for the government.
Okay.
So go MicroStrategies. I guess that's another MicroStrategy that they offer. But nice support to resistance to support flip here for MSTR. I like this range. I did not like the spread on this range. If I'm going to be involved in a spready name, it will be Eli Lilly. I'm joking. If I do like MicroStrategies, I'll take it, but I don't want to rush into it. Also, if there's any tickers you like that you're looking at from afar or from up close or just in general, and you're like, hey, what would Neil and Obi have to say about that ticker? There's actually a way you could potentially find out. And I say potentially because you got to vote. So you get in the chat and you go ! Join, space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. And if you are one of the lucky 5 tickers chosen, Obi and Neil will analyze your ticker or sometimes a stock in the same sector. And you guys will get their live analysis there. Disney broke below 85, 40s, retested, couldn't break it. I want to add here, Disney, I want so much smoke. I know you can't smoke in the theme park, but you can in the Diz stock if you're making that coin. Maybe.
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I'm looking at Intel, Adair, because we're working our way up into $20. Calm down, Sharif. Not 200. Into $20 on Intel. So that was an obvious area of support after that earnings miss. We're weaseling our way up to that area. So I want to see what we do. You're not going to see me with a resting order to take it short at that area. I want to see what it does, how it trades, what the book says, what kind of volatility we encounter at that area, and then I'll make my decision. But I'm very interested at that for that $20 level. And I know you guys are saying SaaS, software as a service. We know what that is. What I was asking, what are they offering?
Yeah.
What are they offering as a service? I didn't understand, because to me, they're a holder of Bitcoin. They're a trust, right? Like that's kind of my understanding of it. So I think we're on the same page there, Adara. We'll obviously get more information, and when we do, we'll pass it on to you guys. $20 INTC, that's about 10 pennies away now, because now we're printing 90s here, or it looks like almost, on the ask. So weaseling our way up, 4 3/4. It's been a hell of a day today for Intel after getting shellacked the last few days. Obviously, last night we got word that there was going to be a lawsuit initiated, by shareholders against Intel as a company, as well as Pat Gelsinger in personam. He's going to be sued personally for misleading investors between January and August of this year with respect to their foundry business, which we know is their main focus right now as they look to change basically their business model from a chip designer to a chip manufacturer. So shareholders displeased, obviously, with what the report said, basically accusing Pat Gelsinger, Big Patty G, with misrepresentation. So obviously, that's never really a good thing. A contingent liability hanging over the head of a company that's really trying to transform itself. So a bit of a headwind. The market doesn't care. It's up 4 2/3, up 4 3/4 there at the high, rejecting off 1990 at that area right now. But that's only a local rejection. I'm packing my patience. I've already gotten an alert out on my platform for that $19.95 area. I want to have a bit of a 5-cent head start if we do work our way up there on INTC. But quite frankly, I'm going to show you my watch list here for microchips, and there is no red name on any of these microchip semiconductors. In fact, they're all in mid-single digits. They're not even low single digits. Some of them in high, like ARM, 7.5%. AVGO, Broadcom, a nice, cool, slick 5% on the day. You've got AMAT, less traded though. Qualcomm reported a couple of days ago. They're up 4 2/3, and Marvell up almost 6.5. So a lot of strength today in microchips, how we can weasel our way into that trade. Let's bring in the side charts here and have a look at another Mag 7, because we're getting a lot of waffling here. That's what I'm seeing. A lot of consolidation, unsurprising given the time of day, but sometimes we do get direction on the midday show. Meta is breaking down now. It looks like the breaches of the volume-weighted average price are getting deeper and deeper, despite the fact that it's still fighting with 500 as it's printing above 500 now. It almost dipped into the, actually breached 499.5, breaking through that area. Still, it's a $500 name, so for the most part, still holding that key area of technical support that we talked about earlier, that double top at 930 and 935 around that $500 level. So Meta possibly still in play, up 2 1/4. And I got to tell you, so my platform charts the support and resistance areas for me on the Mag 7. Okay, it gives me. I'll show it to you guys super quick over here. Let me bring it in. So this over here is something called Technical Views. It's done by this company, I think. I forget the name of it. Anyway, they're not really that important. It shows me the areas of technical support and resistance on the Mag 7, as well as it gives me a bias. For the last week, all the Mag 7 biases by this analyst have been negative, for the exception of Meta. Every day, as you can see over here,
Oh, Meta.
yeah, they're giving me a bullish bias on Meta above 483. Anyway, the point is to tell you not to just blindly take Meta long, but there seems to be this view amongst analysts right now that Meta is, better positioned to hold on.
Meta.
What?
Meta is better.
Meta is better. I love it. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Better position to hold on to, I guess, to its recent gains. Maybe it holds that 500. Obviously, Meta was a blowout quarter relative to other digital advertisers. So we'll keep eyes on that. It's still zigging and zagging with 500, but I don't want to be part of that zig and zag. Apple, 3 lower highs now, guys. High crest through that 213 and a fifth. Unable to reach 213 on this crest, certainly unable to reach 213 and 212 and a quarter, excuse me, on this crest. Lower high, lower high, lower high. Apple's getting weaker. I think we get a decided break now of that volume weighted average price. Let's wait for that. But it looks as if, yeah, we're getting some moves down. You see the soft one breaking down, Amazon's breaking down, Tesla's coming into that 20 Adara. So some pullbacks right now in these here markets.
Yeah, Tesla 198, I was kind of watching, and then I got distracted by Disney. But I still have my eye on the Tesla book at 198. The last time I watched it, I was like ready to punch short, and then it wicked up, like violently pushed up to 198.20s. I was like, Tesla, okay, do your thing. I won't have to trade you right now. That's fine. However, now, this Tesla 198, you know what I would actually rather see when I look at the 5-minute chart with these lower highs and the support? What is this, 198.71s? We get, okay, I'll give it 70s. That's a really specific price point. If we get to 70s, we get below that. I would get short 70s, and I would risk it into 198s. To me, if I am to take Tesla today, that is the trade that makes the most sense in terms of where we're currently sitting on TSLA. Disney, I did add, I mentioned here that I liked the idea of getting, not even the idea, I said I liked adding here at 85.38 around there. I meant to set my order earlier, and then I accidentally filled it back up at 50s. Again, not upset about that. You just got to adapt, react, readapt, act. Shout out to the fictional character of Michael Scott, as portrayed by Steve Carell from The Office. But so I got out part of this position here at like 32s. Then I added back when we got to 30s. I initially wanted 40s. I was like, I don't think we're going to get 40s the way we're moving. I took 37s. We pushed lower. Now I'm getting a little bit more aggressive. I want actually the 85 26s. But also, if there's anything that you want here with regards to like earnings plays, there's actually one place that can help you with that, and it's stonks.com. Do you want a chance to win $1,000 every day? Stonks.com is giving out $1,000 daily, and it's actually super easy to enter. All you have to do is predict the stock price after the earnings report. Today, we're looking at Take-Two Interactive, TTWO. All it takes is 30 seconds to join. All you have to do is just go to stonks.com, sign up, and click that make prediction button, and then you could potentially win $1,000, $1,000. It is that simple, guys. Each day you get one free ticket to predict, and if you want more chances, share your referral link and get 5 extra tickets with each sign up. Go to stonks.com. Don't miss out, and good luck. Do you remember the good old days where you didn't get to bet on earnings? Well, no, not anymore. I don't know why. I said guys when I was saying that, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to throw in a reference there. So yeah, good. Definitely chew on that information from stonks.com. Shout out to them. I love this little man with his money there. Yeah. And that could be you. Also, thank you, Disney. I had a little bit more of an ambitious beak wetter, 85.20s, but the duck was like, yeah, I'll wet my beak. I know there's definitely some pawns in Disney that this duck could have wet his beacon. If we're going to break below 20s, I'd be so happy. My next ad area would be around 32s. Basically, anything where I'm seeing resistance on the book or previous resistance support in the book, that is where I'm looking to add and then get out as we have our little roundy top to the downside.
He looks like Dennis the Menace.
He kind of does. Oh my gosh, he looks like Dennis the Menace if Dennis got money. And Dennis would be like that excited if he got money too.
Yeah.
You're right.
Neil, when's the last time you watched Dennis the Menace, man? The kid, yeah, exactly. I don't think I've even seen it on TV. I'd probably have to go to YouTube for that, I'm assuming, right? Long time ago, yes. Dennis the Dang Menace. Aaron Scott Matthews, that site you showed was okay, so here it is, guys. It is called Technical Views, okay? I get it free with my platform. I'm assuming you guys can subscribe to it. We are not sponsored by them, so I don't advocate for them in any way, shape, or form. I use them personally. Jay Lee, Sharif, Adara, is the TQQQ short ready to go now? How is level 2 on it looking? Let's have a look. Adara was the one that was trading TQQQs today. I was looking at this bad boy yesterday. Let's have a look, my man. Not seeing any. Well, look. You know how I do, Jay. I chart the NQ September contract, then I execute on the TQQQ. So 18.438 is the high. I feel like we're having a lot of trouble with the 18.4. Generally, we're doing the wick shimmy. When we approach 18.4, we're rejecting it. However, Jay, here's the look. I think this higher low and this hold at the 20 exponential is telling. If we break down below that 20 exponential, I think it's a short season here. I think we give way at 18.3, maybe finding some support at 18.2 where we consolidate a little bit. So, yeah, I'm not going to really look at the book on the TQQQs. That's not really how I roll. For the futures, the book is one that a tool that I use for stocks, not as much for the future. But right now, we're obviously having a lot of trouble with 18.4 as a general level. This higher low is telling a little bit, but this also slope down of lower highs incrementally is also telling, and the rejections at 18.4 are the ultimate tell here. So unless we really clear it and get above it with some vigor, I am not going to take it long, and I don't know whether it's short or not right now. So for me, I'm just speaking personally, an area of indecision for myself. Manuel Palma, MGOL near VWAP. Let's have a look. Thank you for alerting me to that. Okay, so it did. Okay, here we go. Now we're topping tail. Neil, can I ask your assistance to find out how much it would cost me for MGOL shorts? Thank you. Neil is going to hopefully hook me up with that. Again, real trading, the best trading prop firm around. I can't even get shorts on MGOL on my platform. They're probably going to cost me a few pennies here. We'll find out from a second from it, Neil. $4 HOD, 4 topping tail candles, Adara, into that $4 level. But Manuel Palma, your point is well taken. Multiple defends off the volume-weighted average price. My only concern, Manuel, is that it's obviously here zigging and zagging. It hasn't decided whether it wants to reject for or take for. I'm going to pack my patience on this one, seeing as it is in an area of flux right now. So $4, definitely an area of concern. Adara's printing up a storm over there. It looks like we'll get her take in a second. HROW printing days highs. This one is really going here, guys. Up 56 some odd %. Thank you very much for that, Neil. So $6.30 for 100 shares. I'd say that's a pretty good deal, but I'm going to hold off on it for now. Thank you, Neil, for that. Lots of possible mean reversion on this bad boy over here. We could see this one tank up a storm from where it is right now. And there it is, MGOL putting in the first little red hammer, inverse hammer candle. We'll have to see if it gives way at the $3.75 area, which is where the volume-weighted average price is holding up there. Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. So that's the look there. What else we got? What else we got? So I'm going to set up a screen here for MGOL just so that we're ready to go for it. Yeah, man, multiple topping tails into that 4. What's the book look like? I want to see what the book looks like once we get into that 4. We need to be a little bit more near it. Here comes 395. Let's weasel our way up to 4 so I can have a better look at the actual size sitting on the book. Now, I don't know why it does this, guys. I'm not intelligent enough to know, but I don't understand when it gets away from the price why the size on the book kind of disappears, and as you get closer, it reappears. Here we go. Here we're coming into 4. 399's printing now. That size there was size there at 99. So we reject 99s for a second. Here is 4. Okay, and there goes 4. We're breaking up big. Where did we get to? We got to about 411, 412, zigging and zagging. Good thing I didn't take this monster short. There's your bull flag continuation. So MGOL going 70 1/3 right now. Here comes the $1/5 of a dollar, and I think we're going to break the $1/5 of a dollar, and we did break it. Okay, so good moves here up for. No, we didn't break the $1/5 of a dollar. There's a seller at 20. So, and it's an iceberg. It's definitely an iceberg. There was like no size reflected on the book there at the 20 penny area, yet we rejected a couple of times. Keep your eye on that $1/5 of a dollar. Seems like there is a bit of an iceberg there, but you know, we'll have to see if he can or they can continue to stand in the way, because I think there's a lot of buying right here. Possibly another dip into 4. So if you miss the dip into 4, you may get another one here, and I would basically, I would have to risk 20 pennies here. I couldn't have an entry at 4 and basically a stop at 388. You're gonna have to risk the bottom area of that consolidation. There goes the seller at 20. We're going in the 30s. We're blowing through 30s, likely squeezing into the $0.50 here. There it goes 30s. Here comes 40s. Wow, MGOL. This thing is pumping up a storm on no dang news. We're going to break 450 here if the volume is really picking up here on MGOL. Where are we at? We're about 5 million shares so far, so really haven't picked up even that much yet. Here comes 50. Let's see if we sell it here at at 50. Lots of strength right now, Adara, on this small cap gapper.
Yeah, I mean, just mentioned we've strengthened the small cap gappers. We've got some weakness here in DIS. I took a 30-penny SPY scalp short I want to talk about after as well. But also, there was some mention here of Lucid. I'm just still looking for the story. Someone's saying here in the chat, where is this? Lucid receives, okay, 1.5 billion in Saudi funding. So I think that was announced at their earnings report on Monday, but some people saying LCID. So let's take a look, see if there's anything lucid in terms of patterns to look at here on LCID. Are we lucid dreaming? Are the longs lucid dreaming? Or are the shorts lucid dreaming? We will find out. But LCID, okay, yeah, that's a little bit. I mean, to be fair, 11 million in volume for the day, but right now we're below the 90 MA. A little bit of an issue here with that $3.08 area. We had some trouble getting above it. Then we had a little bit of a higher low, come back down, then we break below the 90 MA. Shout out to Let's Flip and Go in the chat. Let's go indeed. Also, now I'll talk about my shorts. So SPY, I took a scalp short here at 527.50s. I didn't think I'd get filled because I was really, like, I waited. I got involved, I think, 48s, 527.48s, got wicked in, got out here. I want to see what we did at 527s, but we kept kind of bouncing at 527.20s, so I got out around there. Did that short. Then I still, you guys know I've still been in Disney. I wanted to add in Disney. I ended up adding here at 23s. We broke lower, popped back up in here. I'm going to give Disney basically until this 90 MA area, more specifically mid-30s, not just because that's my average entry area, but also because that's where Disney got really interesting in the book. This is the largest position I believe I've had since going live. Jeez. But I felt good about it. I built into it. I've been taking profit as I go, and it, I feel good about the levels and everything. The one thing I don't love is clearly we have some kind of bizarre support here. Look at that support resistance flip at 85.16s. We have the market go down, and Disney's still a little bit of an issue here. Let's see if we can get back below the 90 MA 85.30s. I'm not going to be adding here, that's for sure. And actually, you know what? I'm going to get rid of some of my position here at 21s. I'm not going to wait till teens because I want to make sure we are wetting their beak. Ooh. On the way to the downside. But yeah, if there's any stocks you're wetting your beak on, or you're just looking at, because I know some people don't like the term beak wetter, get in that chat, exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickles your fancy. If it tickles your fancy, say beak wetter, say beak wetter. If it tickles your fancy to look at Lucid, look at Lucid. Mullen, another EV name that was beep, beep, driving to the upside. Look at that. MGOL, maybe you're a small cap, gapper type of person. Get in there and let us know. Eli Lilly, I was actually really interested in that, really like in Lily that worked out in my head, 834s. And the reason I liked that was because that was certainly an area we chopped, we turned. I was like, okay, topping tail candles short. The spread was gross. The spread is still like $1.50 right now, so I didn't like that. That being said, look at this crazy support we have here at 825s. If we break that, that could be the short of a decade, or it could also be the loss of a decade, which is why I would want A, a ridiculously tight spread, B, a bit of a volume spike, and C, I could not be involved in any positions. I would want to give my all to Mademoiselle if I take that short. But man, Sharif, this short looks crazy.
Oh, yeah.
If this breaks down,
I didn't even look at that.
That's insanity to me.
Look at
Novo Nordisk, I've had eyes on as well, but Novo Nordisk, to me, setting up a little less cleanly than Lilly. We've had a couple VWAP bounces, but a little bit more anemic. The spread is 6 cents, which if you're not like a really expensive name, I don't really like you having a spread. I guess I'm a little bit particular there. KRE, bring it up, says Jay Lee. Been weaker all day. Well, the SPY and Q's been stronger. We're going to have a bank dump. I mean, I can't predict. You know what I mean? I have no idea where things will dump. But let's take a little peek here at KRE. It's still up on the day. It's up like 0.85% on the day here. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I think it was kind of some support there. We broke below that 52.75 area, maybe could be interesting as a rejection. But to me, there's not a lot of movement in this. 3.65 million shares traded on the day. So I think we're gonna have to wait and see what happens here with the banks. I know we have JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon both hinting at like higher than expected or increasing their recession odds. So we'll see on that. But also, speaking of daily, I know you were mentioning that potential TQ short. I wrote this in the chat. I said that bottoming tail candle in the Qs at the time I did not like. Sharif also mentioned, could be some support, but it looks a little wiffle-waffly. I still don't think there's a good sense of direction in the Qs, but beware of that higher low on the TQs. That's what I would say. I
got to echo that sentiment, Adara. That's why I'm staying put with respect to the Mag 7. I'm all eyes, though, on MGOL. It's rejecting now, though, but not that aggressively. So we topping tailed a bit through that 60 penny area, almost to a 2/3 of a dollar. We whiffled and waffled. I said, all right, is this a bull flag continuation? Because, you know, you move up and then basically you consolidate a little bit. You don't want to give more than 2/3 of the actual move back. Otherwise, I think that would be just a reversal or back into $4. Right now, we're zigging and zagging. So I've got two possible trades set up. It's either I take the bull flag continuation on this name, but this is going to be the second bull flag. So likelihood of failure increases as compared to the first bull flag. That's number one. Number two, I'm unsure whether to take it on a possible bull flag continuation or wait for the move back into 4 to test that area of previous resistance, now support. I'm kind of caught in between two minds. I can do both. I can get into a small position now and then plan my DCA at 4 with the ultimate out being the breach of 380 or 375, however you judge that area of resistance, or sorry, support to be, this consolidation area low over here in the first bull flag. So let's see what we get here. I'm gonna go long because I'm gonna take a small position. That's fine with me. And I'm gonna look to defend at $4. So we're gonna put an order to defend generally 4. We're going to put it at 405 or something like that in that area. And then if we don't move up there, I want to have a beak wetter set up. We're going to look to take it out in front of the $0.50 because the $0.50 may be an area of resistance. We know that the closing prints, there has been no closing prints above the $0.50. The highest closing print here is about 40. So let's see if we can weasel our way a little bit higher than 40s to get that print there. And there we go, Adara, boom, right into the high side. So it is a bull flag, or at least it looks like for now. So we'll have to cancel that. Well, I'm actually not going to cancel it because I think that this could be an interesting area of defend if we do come back down. Still holding a piece. Let's see if we can weasel our way a little bit higher than the $0.50. I might wait at like 59s or something like that. A break from where I usually wait. So we'll keep watching this one. But if it does fail this level, I will get out at 20s and look at getting back in front of 4. 4 is an obvious level of defend, but I need proof first that it's going to actually fail this 20 penny-ish level. Right now, there does possibly seem to be a bid coming in so far. Here comes the $0.50. We're zigging and zagging. There's seller at the $0.50. We're rejecting the $0.50 now. For sure, there's a definite seller at the $0.50, so we're going to have to wait to see if we can move them out of the way because right now they're moved.
Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way.
There we go. Yeah, get out the way, bro. Let's go, man. I'm trying to print here. So
let the man print.
Right, so anyway, there's definitely an iceberg there, Adara, at the $0.50, as there's no size there really reflected on the book, yet we're rejecting up a storm. Okay, I'm getting alerts here that Intel is hitting 20, so behooves me to go over to my Intel area and have a look. Again, guys, I'm not going to sit here with a short at $20. I need to watch Intel to see how it's trading, but it's 5% today for INTC as it moves up nicely after getting bad news yesterday. Good look there. Happy for INTC. I still think it's a good company, just needs a little bit of time. Go MGOL, baby. Let's go. Let's go to the high side. There we go. We'll take it out there as we get a nice little continuation. Please, this punch.
I am pleased as punch for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm putting the go in MGOL. So good luck for you there.
Okay.
Disney, I don't know why we're like weirdly bouncing off 85.21s, but that is where I have the place to put, take out a quarter of the position I have now. Like I said, the guys, it's a large position for me, like, you know, a little bit different, but I feel good about it. So I wanted to attempt it. Right now, what I'm seeing though is we'll get to 85.21 on the bid. We cannot get there on the ask and we bounce. I do not love this, but the reason I stayed in this, because I know I said I was going to be looking at mid-30s, then I realized, like, hey, Adara, the 40s have actually been a better level, so just wait till 40. You can, like, risk at this point 4 cents in the average position, risk your 4 cents. But also what I'm noticing here, too, and that's why I drew this line, because it was actually, interestingly enough, an area of pre-market resistance and then previous support as well. There's something fascinating happen as we get into 85.36s. It is a complete fluke that that's what my average is right now, and it'll probably change when we get this beak wetter. But when we get to the book on 85.36s, we reject violently. It is weird. There is something at that level. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Titanic level iceberg. But right now, okay, clearly 21s were a level 2 because that did something for me. We took out a quarter of my position. We're going to try to get the rest out here at, or not the rest, another portion out here at 09s. What is this actually? We'll do 07s. Just any, basically, guys, any area in the chart that was a little bit spicy. You've noticed Disney has been respecting that previous support and resistance. So we're going to be respecting Disney. So there we go. We're going to be trying to get another, well, now it's a third of the remaining position here. And we get to 85.07s. Happy I stayed in this because believe me, the urge to panic sell was very strong as we got into 85.30. Instead of Dara, don't panic. You have no reason to. Disney's rejecting here. Watch the book, watch the chart, breathe, and get in. I'm tempted to add a bit into this position if we get back to 85.25s and reject because that was but the mid-20s have been pretty interesting for me on Disney. But I'd rather take out another piece first. We are weirdly bouncy every time we get to the mid-teens. I don't know why that is, but you see it on the book. You see it reflected in the chart. And so I want to stay, breathe, and breathe. There we go. Just breathe. Pumpity pump pump pumps. Tesla, says Charlie Taff. Oh, I like that. Yeah, like I said, I was kind of interested in Tesla at that 197.80s clearly fell off that level. Oh, okay. I see you, Charlie Taff. My one thing, though, is A, we just rejected 198. B, we rejected 198 at the 90 MA, and C, we rejected 198 at the 90 MA with 2 topping tail candles. I know I sound like one of those games where like you keep adding words on, but to me, I'm not sure that this is a pumpity pump pump, to use your phraseology, just yet. I noticed a little bit of rejection at 198.20s earlier today. I would say get above that 198.20 with a nice little viciousness, with a swiftness, with a how do you do? I don't know why I said that. And then that's when you get that nice move up here. Honestly, Tesla back at 197.70s. You guys know I like that level. If we come back, say hi to that level, and then reject, I will take this short. Disney, you're like behaving okay-ish, so I'm okay with that. What are you looking at though right now, Sharif?
You know what I'm thinking? Bumpity bump bump
Bumpity bump bump.
Look at Tesla go.
Oh, Tesla.
I mean, if that's not a perfect song for when we're around Christmas time, anytime a stock pumps, I'm gonna write it down. Right?
Shout out to Charlie Taff.
Bumpity bump bump bumpity pump bump. Look at Tesla go. I'm dizzy. How do I get off that ride? Says Bert66. What ride? What are you talking about? What's going on over there? You at a theme park or something like that we don't know about? You printing on your phone? What's going on? All right, let's have a look at some of these other names over here. I was talking about INTC. Still waiting for possibly INTC to hit that $20 area. Let's load it up on the side chart over here. I already have an alert for it. I don't know why it's not. There it is. There we go. Now we're not topping tail, but you see this candle over here. This is the 6:30 a.m. candle. Neil called this out when we were doing the prep in the morning. He's like, something happened with Intel at 6:25, 6:30. This is, I think, what he's talking about. We topping tailed. This is one hell of a gnarly topping tail, and it rejects exactly off to $20. $20 exactly, not 2001, not 1999. So I'm very interested in this level. It's taken its sweet time, as typically Intel does, to weasel its way up there. I'm not going to have a resting order, as I made very clear. I want to see how it trades there, but I'm awfully interested in 20. All right, let's keep this moving. I heard somebody tell you, Adara, that Rivian was making a nice move there in the chat, and it is. I happen to have it up on the side charts from yesterday. It's been a love affair today between Rivian and the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. It has not breached on even a wick basis the 10 exponential since 9:40 this morning. There has been no closing print south of that 10 exponential. Rivian awfully strong. Rejecting, though, seems to be 2 candles here at 15 and a fifth. I love when your camera moves around. It trips me out.
Right? It's cool.
Right? 15 and a quarter, 15 and a fifth. There does seem to be resistance there. But as I mentioned, still holding that 10 exponential on the 5. I'm not about to take anything long or short here. I want to see what it does, not just at 15. There's a bit of a zone here. You can see $15 as a bit of an area of support once you cleared 15. However, before that clearing into 15, for whatever reason, we had a bit of a seller at 14.90. So a bit of a 10-cent chasm there between that 14.90 area of resistance and that $15 area of support. If we do get into that area, I'm all eyes and every other sensory organ to see exactly what happens there. Do we just breach 15, or does 15 hold? Because these candles all held 15. So RIVN, very interesting. Obviously, they reported it was not what the market was expecting. There was some issues with respect to the burning of cash, but then they do have some cash still left over from their association or their joint venture, with Volkswagen. Still so many unanswered questions with respect to Rivian, not just in like the Rivian actual proper, but in their association again with Volkswagen. We really don't know what that's going to pan or end up being. But that's a hell of a recovery off a bad earnings miss today on RAVN, up 10 1/4. That ain't no joke. Let's look at the 15-minute here so we can kind of gauge. Yeah, so we're right back into the highs that we were before we reported earnings. So you can tell there's the earnings right there. And yeah, we're right back into that level. So there's an obvious area, though, of resistance at this $16 level. And there's one over here at 15 3/4. So 15 3/4, and that takes us back to the 6th as well, but I like the $16 level a lot more than I like this 15 3/4. So Rivian, interesting, 15 1/5 today, almost 15 1/4, not quite into that 15 3/4 or 15 or 16. All right, Intel is above 20. So here we go. Now we're at that $20 level. We've breached it. So that 6:30, 6:25 a.m. print, that's gone. We've taken that out now. Intel, 5.5% today in the clear. It's been uninterrupted up and to the right. I mean, I was short bias at 20. I may have to rethink that because we're blowing through it right now. Keeping the bias until, I guess, I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly when I give up my bias, but still possibly looking short on Intel. Let's see what the chat is up to here. I saw a couple of tags. Gorev, look at Palantir still making higher highs, bouncing off the 10 EMA on the 3. I didn't know you charted on the 3, Gorev. Shout out to you. We'll look at that in a second. Jay Lee, I've seen reports that the UKR is in rust now around, okay, this is, okay, yeah, I heard about that. I heard that they were able to enter. Thank you, Jay, for, bringing up these political issues when they do have market implications. Thank you for that. Brendo did let me know that this morning, so I was aware of that. DJ Marshall, Tesla, the stock king. I think this is going to be a rhyme. Tesla, the stock king, was climbing wild and free.
It's Frosty the Snowman. Tesla, the stock king.
Good. Was climbing wild and free, and the traders say it could soar and sway. Just the same as BTC, yes. Uppity, up, uppity, up. Look at Tesla go.
Should have been DJ Marshall.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for that, DJ Marshall. I think that he's done that before, right?
Yeah, he did it with juicy ones too, by Biggie. So shout out to you. Yes, I am out of MGOL. I took it for a bit of a bull flag continuation. I saw that 479 touch, whiffling and waffling at 4 2/3. If you're printing up a storm, let me know. We'll give you a shout out. But yeah, I'm out of MGOL. Up 91%, guys. This thing's on its way to triple digits, though. We'll keep tabs on that. Yeah, Crowdstrike is like popping here. I'm trying to see, are you seeing any news on Crowdstrike? Because it looks like we just got a bit of a volume spike. I'm checking here if there's anything spreading. Not seeing any news on this one. But nice little volume spike here for Crowdstrike. That wow, okay, talk about bounces off previous versus. Okay, MSTR, bye-bye. Crowdstrike, you get to join. I'm more in sync with you, Crowdstrike, so bye-bye-bye, MSTR. But yeah, no, this volume, I'm still looking here. I got it open on Twitter. There's not a lot of social media attention on this one. Someone bought Crowd on CNBC. That's what it was. Stephanie, I'm guessing.
Stephanie Link?
Yes, Stephanie Link. Right now. I heard Steph and I was like, it's got to be Steph Link. Yeah. So shout out to Stephanie Link here. I watched her recently at the Compound Friend, and that was really good.
And Josh Brown, Neil says as well.
Josh Brown also buying Crowdstrike. Okay, so double whammy there. Push higher here on CRWD with regards to that buy. So yeah, just saw that circulating on Twitter. We keep bouncing here off previous resistance as well. So like that 235.50 was a nice bounce. If we bounce here off 238, if we come back, that could be a look. Crowdstrike, nice potential buy the dip opportunity should there be a dip. Jay Lee saying crowd long at 212 was the play for a swing. I honestly, those levels in the mid-teens, the mid-2 teens there were a good look on crowd. I also need to talk about Disney because I did leave the Disney trade. Happy I did too. Because we got to pop in the market. I'm a little bit disappointed with the exit, but still, I wanted to wait. I did get my fill there. 85.07s. Then the whole market pops up. I should have seen this bottoming tail candle. I saw them on multiple time frames, and I was like, well, no, let's wait. Let's see what we do at 40s. We got above 40s. I got out. So lost I think like 15 pennies on the remaining average position. Definitely, like I said, not looking at P&L, but net profitable in this. Happy with what I did, ready to reflect and learn from this in the future. Every time this market looks like it's going to call it quits, it's like, no, guys, I still have some fight in me. So great look there. Uber making a beautiful bounce off of VWAP, says Grov. So Uber, yeah, this is day 3 earnings. I know Obi was all about the Uber on day 1 and day 2 earnings. So good look for this. Oh, that is a beautiful bounce off VWAP. I do agree there, Grov. I would like to see what we do here if we get above 67.70s. The fact that we broke above that previous resistance area there at 67.40 is pretty promising. What else do we have? There's something. Oh, yeah, SMCI. Darius Golden wants to look at SMCI. So let's take a look at that. SMCI, or SMCI, as Sharif calls it, SMCI. But he says he's got some puts, and I'm having second thoughts. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, today, depends on what level you got, right? We're not giving advice, but I will say today, this bounce that we got here, you could argue it's a double bottom, but it also was a little bit of support resistance flip-flop in the pre-market. This bounce at 482 is just crazy. I'm going to be honest. This is a really strong bounce, making higher highs, higher lows. We're up $30 on the day, up 6.5% or almost 6.5% here. I got to be honest with you. It looks really strong today. Day 2 earnings. Let's see on the daily chart. I mean, we're still definitely down. Yeah, okay. So we're still definitely down, but this to me on the daily chart looks like it's setting up to be a bullish engulfing. I would be cognizant of that for sure. But also I want to be cognizant of lessons with Neil.
His lesson of the day. Let's go.
Welcome to another lesson of the day here. I think it's going to be a fun one. What basically happened this morning, because I always try to keep these relative to something we saw today or something that was relevant today. And there was one point, if you're trading along this morning, I think both Obi and I were short and looking for short as the market had kind of gapped up. So you had 830, we got that jobless claim data. You got the bump to the upside. The market was carrying higher into the open. Liked NVIDIA short. You could have looked at some other chip names. Doesn't really matter. But we liked the short into that 102, the afternoon resistance levels on NVIDIA. As it was trading down and just flushing, popping down into big support at 98 and kind of holding out around here, there was a point on the way down as it was holding lower when I was just looking at different stocks. I wanted to find some relative strength. Like, what am I not looking at that could be good that I'm not into? Because we were just holding shorts at that point that were working. I had 2 shorts on and they were both in the money. And I was looking around for relative strength because the market wasn't exactly falling apart all over itself. The chips were. And I got a question, why are you looking around for relative strength when things are kind of looking bearish right now? And it's just because you never know what's going to happen next. Like, I never make the assumption, oh yeah, I got this, I'm 100% right, this is gonna trend the rest of the day, and it's gonna be the easiest thing you've ever seen, and we're all just gonna print, and you're never gonna have any worries in sight, and I've seen every opportunity that's out there. I assume the exact opposite of that. I assume that something is going to change, and therefore I should be looking for reasons to either tell me that I'm wrong, and if I don't find any, we can find some more shorts, or if I find something that's strong and the market does turn, I know exactly where I'm going if we start breaking out. And so that's where I lean back into looking at my original plan of things I was bullish on and seeing what was still setting up. And if you remember, we had a few day 2 or 3 earnings plays that we knew we liked to the long side. One of which, and I'm just gonna quickly, and I always do this, I just did it again. I almost typed in Upstart again. I keep doing this. All morning long, I kept like messing these symbols up. When I wanted to talk about like Shopify, I'd say Upstart or like Palantir or something else, which is hilarious to me. No, but I wanted to point out in that same moment while everything was seemingly tanking and I was searching around for ideas long, we had the continuation play on Shopify. So you keep the head on the swivel. Shopify never breaks the 63 support. Hold the bottom. Hold a close level. And remember, like, things are tanking at this point. This is like before 10 o'clock when NVIDIA is off that bottom. Shopify is holding VWAP and making higher lows. Now, did I get to this early? Maybe not. But when it broke out the top, I was at least ready for it, saw it consolidate at 66, and then play into the high. I made the comment, you don't have to be early to the party. You just have to be well-dressed. You can be late. It doesn't really matter. Join the trend. If I just sat there assuming, hey, the things I'm looking at, they're all going down, it's going to be short for the rest of the day, let's not worry about looking for other opportunities or what might actually be going counter trend, and you're going to miss some things out there. And that's the idea. Like, the market ends up now 2.7%. So yeah, early shorts worked on a couple of stocks that we're looking at, but it was a market trend up day. You gotta be looking for long plays on a day like that if you're an active trader. So you find something that sets up. Shopify did. Now it's not all perfect, because the other thing that I found I never got into when I got into Shopify, that's Palantir. That was another plan that we liked for the long. Never found it. But the key is you could have. If as long as you're looking around here after the fact that we're making those lows, right around that 10 o'clock time. Now, the reason I didn't get into Palantir is when I was searching, Shopify was making higher lows. Palantir was still looking a little bit weak. And that's the reason we're not into it. I am actually short off the high of the day. I'll get to that in a quick second. But it broke VWAP a little bit later and then broke out the top. So I stopped looking at it because it was weak at the moment, weak along with NVIDIA. But eventually, when I'm getting into Shopify, it's not until I could have had Palantir post breakout and on that trend. And if you're wondering why short here, I'll just quickly explain. We've already broken through that 28 zone, post earnings high, and it's at the top of a trend line, which it reversed at the post earnings high. So if it breaks that high, which is like 28.80, I'm jumping out of the trade. But it's about finding things that are super strong. If you're a day trader, you've already got the move, you're chilling out, it's in the money, you're going to look for what is next. And if there's a strong trend, you want to find places to join that trend. And it doesn't have to be Palantir. You could always just go to like an Old Faithful. Like in this particular case, when I came on over and found Tesla, this had nothing to do with, oh, this is a post-earnings play. No, I just looked around at all the big cap tech names and said, if we're blowing out the top, what can blow out the top? It was that simple with Tesla. Tesla holds the same low, gets back above a key 192 support on the 15-minute, breaks out this range. Look how late I am to this move. That worked, holds that previous low, the 192. That holds here on the 15-minute. Busts it out from here, which is the afternoon range high. That's 194.5. It continues to go. Whatever. The market's going up, and it makes a double top breakout. So all of those other places you could have got long, it's like, yeah, I don't care. We want this one. So you saw me go over to Tesla and say, I'm just waiting for Tesla to break it out that high. It broke out the high. We carried it into 199. And again, while the market was dipping, I was looking for things that were setting up. And Tesla successfully put in those higher lows and were able to sniff something out. And obviously, when you're bearish, you're not going to be long at the bottom when you're bearish. You might not even be long here if you're thinking bearish. But at some point, you got to be able to flip the script. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to have an idea. You just can't stay that way when the market's telling you otherwise. And to me, part of that is always scanning for other opportunities. There is downtime in trades. Like you can be in a trade, you got to stop, you got to trail, you know where you're reloading, it's nowhere near that level. Another trade you might be looking for on another stock, it's nowhere near your price level. Maybe you got an order out, maybe you don't. In those moments, you can be looking for other opportunities. You can be scanning your charts, going through your watch list. I'll go through my iPad and the notes that I made in the morning or overnight. And if I find something, then if the market reverses or it hits that level, I've got another trade that I can put on. And the good thing about it is it also will prevent you from getting that analysis paralysis on a stock that you might have no reason to make a decision on, and then you're overthinking that one stock, which I've done a million times. So looking for other ideas can save you from that. And I think it's an important thing to do, especially early in the morning. How many times have we seen that first 30 minutes be completely reversed, where you get all those great wins, and then the opposite just happens after 30 minutes? You want to be prepared for that by having some counter ideas that might go in the other direction. So if it starts to happen, you know what you want to do, and you're not just scrambling for a stock to trade. So that's the reason why we were looking for ideas and always are looking for what's strong in this market that's going down, what's weak in this market as it's going up. That is going to matter. You're not going to feel as bad if you short a weak stock and lose. If you join an upward trend and you lose on it, trust me, it's not going to feel as bad, because in the long run, that's the best way to play. So finding those things that are showing it to you in that first hour of the day are going to usually be gold for you. So put that work in. That's your lesson of the day. Always keep the head on a swivel.
Thank you very much, Neil. Informative, eloquent, and awesome as always. Neil Roberts every day dropping that Neilage around that noon hour. So make sure if you're joining Adara and I on How to Trade, you're around for Neil's lesson today. Thank you again for that. While Neil was dropping said hot lines, Adara, MGOL decided that the top has to be blown up. And there it just blew off the top 120%. We were talking about this one at 60 some odd percent. The small cap gapper power is real fast and furious. High day right now, $5.70, weaseling its way back down into 5 1/3, 5 1/4. I'm all eyes right now to see what it does at this $4.80 to $5 area. You can see the umpteen amount of topping till candles and rejections into that 480 level, giving you the idea that there was definitely somebody trying to short aggressively there in front of $5, but it was able to blow the top off that 480, 495, and everything in between all the way up into 570. So we'll watch this one. I can take this one both ways. We're just going to have to set up the right way. First, I'm going to stay bullish on it because it's up 120%. I want to see what it does at 480. If it doesn't make its way down there, and this is yet another bull flag as we break out, there's the pole. Obviously, then the consolidation comes in and we move up again. Uh-oh, Apple's at 213. I'm getting notifications on my phone. We all know what that 213 is. Just pull up that half an hour chart on Apple and thank me later. You're not going to see me short this right away. We're going to have to watch how this trades, and then we'll participate into that short if it is warranted. 213 being breached on Apple at the moment. We already know the high of the day is that fifth of a dollar, 213.21 HOD. We're at 10s right now on AAPL. I'm not looking long here. I get that there are higher lows, excuse me. I don't know why I said it like that, higher lows. With respect to Apple, with generally a flat top at that 213 area. These are the higher lows I'm talking about. The area low there at 950 took us all the way down to 208.83. Then we troughed again at around that 211 1/4, 211 1/5. Troughing again here at 211.81 above the volume weighted average price. So incrementally higher lows all the while with that same flat top in that 213-ish area. So I'm all eyes right now. I just want to see exactly what happens here. I don't have to be the first to get short at 213. I'm already aware of it. Yeah, so we'll pack our patience there and see if the trade will set up the way that I'm looking. Again, MGOL, Intel. Okay, here we go. So Intel topped out here at $20 and generally 10 cents. It looks like 11 cents there. It didn't even hold up at 20. So it seems as if the $10 area here, not featuring. The 10 whole dollar area, like that $20 area, doesn't seem to be featuring. This 1990 though is kind of important in my opinion. This is the 1 minute chart. So I get that these are very minute local areas of support and resistance. But we did have this consolidation area top at 1990 before we got to 20. We're at 1990 now. And in fact, this candle over here got into 1990, held up. So let's see if we hold up above general area of 1990. It's up 5%. I'm not inclined to want to take the chips short. Like I see SMCI. I mean, it's up like $50 already. So there's obvious strength in the chips. NVIDIA is up 5%. AMD is up 4.8%. Intel 5. So don't want to be quick to short this, and but very interested in this level here. Let's go back to Apple and see what's afoot. We just got into that 20 penny level, so we're at that fifth. 1 penny off the high. The high is 21s. We just got into 20s again. So at critical areas here, Dara, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking for Novo Nordisk to drop some weight here. I took a short on Novo Nordisk. And I want to talk about it because I'd be lying if I said there weren't a few qualms here. There are some qualms, but why I like this trade generally as a short was because day two, we got the market moving higher, but Novo Nordisk is day two earnings. So these names tend to kind of move a little bit more with their own free will. B, we do have some lower highs, though I am aware of the fact it got short VWAP. This did get me on Shopify yesterday as well before it ended up working out okay. And then, and to be clear, I know there's risk here. And the other thing is too, multi-timeframe confirmation. There's some obvious VWAP or 90 MA rejection here. That's why I liked the trade with these higher lows. And I think you could even see that more clearly on a wider time frame. The other thing, though, that you could argue is there's a bit of a bull flag. So I do want to be aware, as I say this out loud, I guess the balance of the evidence does look a little bit potentially bullish. But look at all of these wicks here rejecting this 125, like 30s area. Look where we had a little bit of a shelf previously as well. Around 125.30s. I'm cool with giving this about that 30-ish pennies of risk, of Novo Nor risk, because I do believe the Novo Nor reward could be a little bit greater here. I would love to add as well if we get down here below that 70s, which was kind of a previous chop and churn area for me. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Not adding until I see a break decisively back below VWAP. And when I added, to be clear as well, we were actually below VWAP. I got weights in a lot faster than, or sorry, when I entered, got weights in a lot faster than I thought I would. Also, Disney is like, oh, Adara, you left, but I'm still ranging. I'm like, cool, Disney, I see you. I don't want to get involved in Disney right now. Disney's been a little wild and woolly. Unless I see a clear, decisive 85-25 bounce, I could get involved as a long on the range, but I still don't know what Disney wants to give. Any trade on Disney is going to have to be multi-time frame confirmation, small position to start before building in. For me, also, just to get back to Novo Nordisk quickly as well, if Novo Nordisk gets decisively back below here, that 125.10s, to me, that's the level it's been waffling with. If we start rejecting that hard on the bid as well as the ask, that could be a nice sign of moving to the downside. Chilling in this trade. I think right now the balance of the evidence for my purpose is telling me to stay in this short. And if there's any tickers you're looking at still, of course, guys, remember, make sure to vote, ! join, space, $, whatever ticker you're looking at. Make sure you're involved because as Sharif says, rally your friends there and make sure you get that vote.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that all your peeps are voting for the ticker of your choice. Wow, Intel looks crazy here. I love that.
I know. I'm looking at it. I'm staring at it hard. I'm giving it all the looks. I've been, winking at it. I've been doing what I need to do, Adara. So
has the winking worked?
We'll find out, right? Yeah, we'll find out. I'm in Apple short. It's going against me at the moment. I've already got my stop in place at this one. I'm going to definitely be interested in the general 213 area. So if I get stopped out of this trade, fine, but I'm still going to be interested in it. Now, there's obviously bottoming tail candles here. If I zoom in at 1990, unsurprised with that because this was the area we were just talking about as an area of local support. Now we'll have to see if it holds up here. I don't have to be first. We haven't put in any higher highs yet. So we're still putting in lower highs on our way down, possibly into that breaking 1990. We already breached it a couple of times. We got into 89s, but that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it to continue down. So packing my patience here. With Intel, I want to see if 1990 gives way on a closing basis. Here we go. Lots. As soon as we got into 90, you could see all the chop and churn and the tape really pick up. That means there's interest at that level. So how we trade this is really going to depend on how this resolves. I just hope that there is not as much bamboozlement as there typically is in these here markets, to use an Adaraism. But quite frankly, this 1990 was very nice to me, or is very good looking to me. But it looks as if here, I'm going to have to load up Intel on the side chart because I want to see the 5-minute look. We are breaking down now below the 10 exponential on the 5. We could be headed down into that 1980 area. Oh, and we are. It looks like we are headed down here on INTC. We gave way at the 10. Now we could be giving way possibly to the 20. That's in about 7 cents or so. Eek. Okay. So is it time to short? I don't want to be too short bias here with two short positions, Apple and Intel, and the market's up 2 2/3. But what we've seen lately is that the market reverts off the highs. And I was just talking to Big Spile on the gram, and I was like, man, in my opinion, I don't think this market does anything until after the election. It's just my opinion, though. That's all that it is. And that would jive with seasonality because, I mean, we didn't have an election last year and that same thing happened. We zigged and zagged in the summer and then we really broke the highs in the fall area. So still waiting on Apple, out of the money on Apple at the moment, but it's still not breaching with any aggression. But I'm sad in the sense that everything really here, Mag 7 World, has got a red candle except for Apple. So what a perfect time to be in a short. Softy just dropped from 405 all the way to 403 in the same time I've been in a short on Apple. 165.80 on Amazon dropped into 165.10. Same thing with Meta, 504.5 now 502.5. Yet Apple still holds up. So not a good look for me at the moment as the dead one remains alive here and continues to keep me out of the money. All right. Intel, right back into that 1990 area. Is this a holdup here? Oh, baby. So now we have an area off which to work. I'm going long Intel here, and my out is going to be the break of 1986. Let's go ahead and put that. And so we'll get rid of everything if it breaks into that level. So long Intel at the moment. And now I'm stopped out of Apple as it does breach that level. So tough trade there. Apple on the way up, everything on the way down right now. Well, not everything, but there was some weakness in the market. So I do get stopped out of that Apple trade. Disappointed with it. We'll see if we can find something a little bit better and feast on that, Adair.
Yeah, so I added, speaking of feasting, we're not feasting, we're fasting right now at Novo Nordisk. So I know I said I was going to wait to see what we did below 125s to add, but then I was like, Adara, you wanted to wait to see what we did at 125.10s and that flipped. That 125.10 like rejection, once it flipped from support, was gorgeous on the book. I did add at 09s, and then much like when I initially got into the position, Novo Nordisk flew up. I'm actually wondering, was Novo Nordisk SSR yesterday? Because I think at one point it must have gone below 10% because this is behaving very SSR-ish a little bit. So I'm actually curious now as regards to the short. I need to figure a way to find that out because that will probably change some of my opinions here. Just noticing the way that both this behaved both times I got filled. It's a little, I want to say sus, but it's very interesting, right? It makes me go, So we'll have to see what happens here in Novo Nordisk. We're still below that 90 EMA, still rejecting like 25s, 30s. So I'm going to stay in this trade for now. Healthy scotch of skepticism, though, just given the way that this is moving. I'm not adding any more to this until we get that nice breakdown below 125s and I can piece some out. Not a massive position, not as big as what happened in Disney, but larger than I usually am taking. I like that short. I still think the short could be decent, but also with Lily curling up here now, too. I'm really unsure. But the thing is, too, is like, what I realize is you have to be willing to take risks. And what I'm trying to do with trades is, will I be upset if I'm not in this trade? Will I be upset if I don't attempt this within reason? Novo Nordisk, yeah. We had these lower highs here. We had that VWAP support to resistance flip-flop. And look, we keep wicking below this VWAP. Now, is there a chance this could pop up? Oh, for sure. But for me, the general look was, hey, I think we're popping lower. But you know what else is popping lower is Disney. Sorry I abandoned you, bro, but you did wick up to 85.60s. And I would not want to be a part of that. We go back to 85.25s, which is kind of the bottom of that range I was playing. We reject that. That is going to be a short. But also another area that there are two other, I guess, more counter-trendish shorts I want to talk about that I'm looking at. Palantir. And, okay, I'm on the 15. Let me pull up the 5. I think it's clearer on the 5. Okay, look at Palantir trying to dip below here. If Palantir gets below that 60s, rejects, comes back, retests, drops, I'm getting short Palantir. Shopify as well. To me, the Shopify case is a little bit less clean-cut than Palantir. Shopify a little bit rangy, but we do have these lower highs. If you go to the 15, 10-minute, you got a bit of a rounded top here, right? Dipping below the 90 EMA. 15, you also have a bit here of a rounded top. Now, do we have bottoming tail candles? Oh, for sure. But if we get into that, what is the 67.10s? That, to me, we're getting in there right now. Let's see. Both of these might be better shorts than Novo Nordisk. So I might have to change up what my Novo Nordisk is doing over here. I want to take a look at that Shopify. That NVO play looks like a continuation pattern to the upside. Tight stop, says Saad Mahmood. Yeah, like I said, I don't disagree. I think we could be pushing higher, but I mean, we have lower highs and we're at VWAP. This is a pattern that I know sometimes as well. And to be clear, it's not going to work every time. Shopify, this short did end up working out yesterday, but it took 2 failed attempts at it for it to break. So I want to be clear about that as well. This is not always going to work, but in the end, you have to take it in the balance of the evidence. While I am aware there are some upside possibilities for me, I want to take this short, and I stand by the short, and I'm risking very little here. If we get above, like I said, 125.30s decisively, I'm going to get out, but we really are struggling with that level. I just also should have been more cognizant of the SSR aspect. That is a bad play on my part. But let's see what we got here. Palantir, okay, you're below that 28.60. I got to check on you. What are you checking on over here?
I did a really good trade on Apple. I just wanted to look quickly because Jay Lee telling me 7.1 magnitude earthquake on the Richter scale in Japan. Just FYI, I hope everyone is safe. Obviously, we do as well. Jay, thank you for that. Not moving the markets quite yet, but good to know about. All right, so you guys saw me got stopped out on Apple. Right idea, wrong execution. Well, guess what? We were right back into the trade, took a way better trade on the actual move down. Thank you, Adair. Appreciate your support. Nice. We took 40 pennies on this one, super quick. Got short 213.10, wet my beak at 60s, 50 pennies. I didn't even realize that. But it's still heading down, Adair. It's still making newer lows. So I like the 213 area, guys. It is not rocket science. Load up that half-an-hour chart on AAPL. You'll see all sorts of resistance generally to 213. Shout out to Paula. Paula was telling me, look, Sharif, there is a bit of a gap between that 213 area we're talking about. And I think, Paula, you were saying 217 or 219. I'll have a look at that in a second. But thank you for that update. So we'll keep tabs right now on AAPL. And I already told you guys about this possible trade. I've got an alert out for TSLA. Let me see what Intel is doing. Oh, Intel is really giving up 20 here. So I tried to take that long on Intel. I'm an idiot. I had a short bias. I don't know why I flipped. Anyway, back to this supposed Tesla trade that I've been looking for here. It did come into my level 196.50. I had my alert out at $0.25. The whole point of this alert here is to jive with the volume weighted average price and this local area top that is the 930. I don't want to call that the IB high because we printed a little bit higher than that at 1030, and we know the implied balance high and low is within an hour of the opening print. So this was the opening print high, I should say, 196.25. So I've been very interested in getting long on Tesla with that 196.25 area resistance now support, as well as the volume weighted average price being then in that exact same area. So that was the reason for the alert there. I see a big spile saying earthquake carried trade market dump. Look, big spile, it's not dumping yet. It's coming down. Obviously, we're below 18.4. We'll see if the market dumps or not. Either way, I'm good with it as long as there is price action during the midday. That things that we can trade. And yeah, it doesn't matter to me. So anyway, back to what I was saying about Tesla, 196.25. Very interested there. Again, no resting order going to be at that area, but I will watch, see exactly how it trades, and see if it is the right trade for me. Oh, that's cool. I see. That's why he was moving them.
That's dope.
I was wondering what he was doing. I'm like, why are you moving the cameras?
That's dope.
He put your camera on mine.
Oh my gosh, you had OB and Neil there too.
Yeah, he's working up a storm over there. Shout out to Fabian. Ram. See what Fabian's doing, Ram.
You cannot compliment Ram without getting or you can't compliment Fabian without dissing Ram.
I'll break out in hives if I compliment Ram. I'll break out in hives. I'll start sneezing, Adara. You don't want to see that. No, I'm allergic to complimenting that woman.
What?
Jonathan Greenwald. It's okay, Sharif. Ask the Kenobi how he printed on NVIDIA this AM. I know what the Kenobi's printed. I saw him. I was right here. I saw he was $2 in the money.
He killed it, okay? He killed it on the long side. He killed it on the short side. Shout out to OB.
Oh. Well, we're not saying that part.
No, we're not. Shout out to OB. Also, Jonathan Greenwald, hopefully your comment, we're going to assume your comment wasn't sarcastic, and we're going to assume your comment was a genuine compliment of OB's awesome trades this morning.
Well, yeah, he was, actually. So that is the look. Thank you, Adara, for that.
I just want to clarify that, because I get tricked easily by sarcasm, and we're not down for sarcasm in this house. So,
I'm dropping sarcasm all the time.
But you mean it in like
in a nice way, yeah.
Sarcasm, yeah.
Well, you and I, anyway.
We have our own little report. But also, guys, Nova Nordisk dropping a little bit, but we have lessons too to be dropping.
Yes, we do. All right, let's get to the lesson du jour, guys. We are talking about earnings all week long. Today, we're going to talk about analyzing the price action for an instrument before its earnings date. So let's get right to it. Predicting stock price movement can be quite challenging, but understanding pre-earnings price action can give you that competitive edge. So let's talk about some of these price earnings patterns. We're going to talk about 4 different patterns that you should be on the lookout for on the chart prior to earnings to see, if something may be setting up here. Okay? So first one we're going to talk about is gaps up. We already did 2 weeks on gaps, so everybody who joined with us, those lessons should be all ready to go, and there should really be no gap in your knowledge there. Thank you, Adara. All right, well, gap ups can occur for various reasons. A pre-earnings gap up often signals high investor expectations, right? So it's important in this context to consider the magnitude, not just the fact that the gap took place near earnings, but the actual magnitude of the gap itself, as well as the overall market sentiment. A large gap up on low volume, so a larger gap with low volume, might indicate excessive optimism and what could be a potential for a post-earnings pullback. So the operative thing here is to look at volume in addition to the gap. So with respect to actually making proper volume comparisons, you're looking at the volume bar next to its cousins and its sisters on the left and the right. Does it stand out? Is it a standout volume bar? If yes, it's above average volume. You don't need to go into the math equations for that. And here it is what I'm talking about. a pre-earnings gap up. This is the chart on Apple. This is from this year. This is the actual pattern that we're currently in on Apple. This gap over here reflected the announcement of Apple Intelligence, Apple AI. And so we gapped up aggressively, breaking through that 180 area of local resistance. And then when we did move back, we held 180 as an area of support. And the reason I've showed you this gap and pointed to it and then pointed to this area is this is the actual earnings move. So this gap here preceded the big boy move through 200 on earnings. So that's kind of what we're looking for there. Usually when good news comes, you know, especially for companies as big as this, they come in waves. All right? So let's move on. Gap downs. Gaps down. Gap downs. I don't know if that's proper English. A pre-earnings gap down can indicate to you negative sentiment or profit taking possibly ahead of the earnings report. However, it's incumbent upon you to essentially assess the underlying reasons for the gap. You know, a small gap down on high volume, small gap, high volume might suggest a buying opportunity for those anticipating a positive earnings surprise. So you should be looking for these gaps. And here is an example of a gap down. This is Netflix back in 2022. Who remembers the blood that was shed from Netflix in 2022? I'll never forget it. I'll never forget the blood that was shed in Meta or Netflix. These guys went from like $600-700 all the way down into, yeah, like I think 100 something bucks. Meta went to $88. So here is the move down where this is the actual earnings drop. That's the earnings gap itself, but we actually gapped down a little bit over here before the earnings drop, where we dropped 21%, whiffled and waffled, and then dropped another 35% on that subsequent earnings. It was a tough year for the tech and Mag 7 or anybody really in 2022. Even the banks were down. You know what? JP Morgan was down 44% in 2022.
I think you told me this once, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So those are the gaps down. Let's talk about the bullish flags, because you should be on the lookout for these as well prior to earnings. So bull flags, as we know, what they essentially a bullish flag pattern precedes earnings. A bullish flag pattern preceding earnings can be a bullish sign, but it's crucial to consider its timing. Timing here is important. A flag that forms in the final week or two before earnings might indicate to you consolidation before the potential breakout if the earnings are positive. So be on the lookout for that kind of bull flag pattern. And here's what I wanted to show you. This is kind of what you're looking for here. Something like that. Big boy move up, then, we whiffle and waffle. But we don't give up more than 2/3 or half, depending on, if you're more bullish or whatever. And then you continue up, breaking through the area highs. So that's kind of the pattern that you're looking for, something like this prior to earnings. Bearish flags, same thing, right? The opposite. A bearish flag before earnings can be a warning sign, so be on the lookout. It could suggest to you potential downside pressure that could be incoming. However, it's important to evaluate the overall market conditions and the strength of the downtrend before you act on that bearish flag pre-earnings. And here's kind of what we're looking at. This is the chart on Caterpillar. Who remembers this huge earnings gap down miss? But we had a bear flag, precede that gap down on the earnings miss, but that was as bad as it would get for Caterpillar since then. 220 is that October 31st scary Halloween low, and then we all know what happened with Caterpillar after that. So that's kind of what we're looking for, down and to the right, and then it gaps down subsequent to the bull flag or bear flag and the negative earnings surprise. Let's also talk about the importance of support and resistance at earnings. So support and resistance levels are crucial for understanding potential price movements around earnings releases. Let's talk about some of the nuances with support and resistance around earnings. First, they are dynamic. Around earnings time, support and resistance will typically be dynamic. So unlike traditional support and resistance levels, those around earnings tend to be more dynamic. They can shift rapidly due to increased volatility and market sentiment. So what often happens before earnings is there's either beak wetting, people taking profits because we're extended and you're unsure of how the earnings surprise comes, or the more bearish people could be, jumping short anticipating weak earnings. You could have people more bullish, jumping in long, trying to get a better cost basis before an earnings surprise to the upside. In any event, whatever the reason, there's a zig and zag around that time, so you need to be very flexible with where you're drawing those areas of support and resistance right before earnings. Let's talk about pre-earnings support, though. So if there is a very clear level of area support before earnings, it's incumbent upon you to chart it and to look around it. Here's what I mean. Identify recent support levels before the earnings report. A strong hold above this level can indicate bullish sentiment and a potential upside if earnings are positive. However, a breakdown below that key area of support could signal increased downside risk. You also need to keep you also need to chart, obviously, areas of resistance in the same way that you're charting areas of support to possibly take a trade-off. You need to chart your resistance levels for a different reason, though. So resistance levels can act as potential profit-taking areas after a positive earnings surprise. If a stock gaps up significantly, the previous resistance level might become the new support level. How many times have we said that on the show, Adair and I, when resistance flips to support and vice versa? And last but not least, your post-earnings support and resistance. After the earnings have come and gone, the numbers have been digested by the market. Be prepared, though, for a shift in the support and resistance levels after the earnings report. A new trading range might form based on those post-earnings price action. So you need to be on the lookout for that. I hope everybody can kind of glean something from that lesson. Adira.
Yeah, it's always interesting too. Like we talked about that yesterday with regards to Danielle Shea and the options, how you want to look in advance to see what the earnings reaction might be, but also looking at these plays and how these names might interact after the report can be huge as well. So I want to shout out Sharif with that. As somebody who's been trading more earnings plays lately, like this season, I realized yesterday, I'm like, oh my God, jump scare. But yeah, I think it's as someone who I've definitely been trying to do some more earnings plays this earnings season. I've noticed you really want to be aware, like, what did it do ahead of time? Has it had any moves lately in sympathy with other names in its sector? Is there any like levels you want to be aware of? I think the more research you can do before that earnings reaction, the more you're prepared to react to those earnings. Wow, you can see the plethora of cups I have on my desk there with that shot. So shout out to the Starbucks cup, the coffee, the tea, and the water, because they were all in the shot there. Good times. Hydration Nation. But yeah, shout out to Fabian for experimenting with all these different angles. That's been really fun here as well. What was also fun was this Novo Nordisk short. So I took out here just under half the position as we got into 78. Why did I pick that area? A, we broke below VWAP, but the book stagnated a little bit here at, what is happening? At 125, at 124.80s, the book stagnated a little bit. So I was like, okay, get out part of the position there, fine, right? But then also, like, it was an area we kind of wicked into earlier and then bounced. So that was why I picked that area to get out a little bit less than half of the position. Willing to add back in if we see another 125 rejection here. I want to let this ride. Happy I stuck with this because there were times where I really wanted to just panic sell as we were around that 125.20s area. But I said, Dara, you said you give it to 30s, give it to 30s, give it the time that it needs. If we get decisively back above 125.10s, here on the bid, I'm going to have to get out because that was an area I found kind of interesting. But if we keep breaking below here, I like that we wicked into 125.10s and broke back lower. I do like the look of that. Another day two earnings name that I like the look of is Disney. Disney with these succession of bearish candles. I liked this entry point at what was this? It was 85.04s with a stop of 85.16s. Just playing on previous support resistance. That was also areas that were interesting on the tape as I was watching it. But I wasn't able to get in because I was not able to get wicked in. That being said, you know what? I'm actually just going to leave an order here. If we get to 84.99s, I want to kind of start a small position in the mouse house. I don't know if we'll get that small position in the mouse house, but I would love to hang out with Mickey and Minnie. Hopefully they're having a really good day there. You know, I want to say hi. Call me Goofy, call me Daffy Duck, whatever Disney creature you'd like to call me. But I want to hang out with Mickey and Minnie. There's no NVO still in this, still waiting. Oh yeah, Fabian did a very convincing imitation of Goofy from Mickey Mouse. But also, we have Crowdstrike here. This one could be worth striking. I said I like that 238 bounce. I didn't take it because that's when the market kind of had to push down. I was like, even if it's moving on its own merit, I don't really want to mess with this. Interesting look, though. If we reject I don't want to take this short when you have all that recent interest, but the volume's petered out. If we reject this kind of shelfy area at 239.60s violently, I'd be interested in that. Novo Nordisk, though, popping back up. So I might have to cut my Novo Nordisk risk there and cut that trade. Happy I took out some profit, though, and happy I stuck with the trade above all. But also, guys, we have a 30-year note auction in 10 minutes. So we're going to keep you apprised of that. Also, make sure to vote for whatever tickers you like. Exclamation point, join space, $,
Fabian.
whatever tickers are fancy. You guys can vote for, like, ETFs as well. You guys can vote for as well, like IWM, SOXL, SOXS, TQs, SPY, whatever you want to vote for. Get in that chat and give us that vote. What are you looking at here, Sharif?
I am looking at Benzinga, Adara. Are you tired of being late to the trade? Are you always playing catch up in the market? Are you missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Fabian, I got it on my screen. Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Are you ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? If so, visit benzinga.com/pro and get yourself that free 14-day trial. Adara, can you vouch for Benzinga?
I can. I actually, surprisingly, maybe, but I can.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
I like Benzinga.
So here is what I'm looking at, Adara. We got up into 213 again on Apple, but now we have a bit more with which to work because now we've allowed the price action to unfold. And here's what I'm seeing. 212.60, for whatever reason, is featuring on the day as both resistance and support. Initially, obviously, acted as resistance. You see waffling over here at around 10:30. We reject 260. We come back right into 260 again at 11:30. And again, we reject. We clear it for the first time on the day at around 10 after noon, 10 after 12. We get up into that area, the highest point we've been all day, around 213.46. Double bottom off 212.60. What is this 60 penny area featuring for? I don't care. All I know that it's featuring. So we're going to weasel our way into this trade possibly here if we dip down into that level again, whether long or short, depending on whether we hold it or not. Again, I'm short bias on Apple because of the umpteen amount of rejections that we've gotten in that general 213 area all week long. And prior to that 213 area resistance, we actually used it as support. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but it's worth mentioning, especially as we get newer viewers coming in all the time. Here is that local area top. August 5th, we reject. We don't come into it on the 6th. We come into it yesterday. We reject. We're at it again today, and we're rejecting. However, the other side of the coin is these higher lows. They're very telling, and we need to consider them. Now, again, back to the other side, using that 213 area, we're looking back here, August 1st, August 2nd, that 213 area was beautiful in terms of a dip trade long because it was support. So support now flips to resistance. We're still in that area where we haven't broke out above it. Let's keep an eye on this area because I'll be looking short if we start making lower lows. Like yesterday, we got into it. We stayed a little bit at that 213 area, and then the lower highs and the lower lows really kind of were the operative move here, and it didn't look back. So once we started printing lower lows and lower highs around that 212.25, 212-ish area, we didn't stop. We kept all the way down into about 207 and change. We're not doing that same thing today. We don't have that rounded top, and we're getting all these incremental higher lows. So it looks like a bit different. But we still haven't breached it. We haven't really cleared that 213 area with any vigor, so I'm still short bias on Apple. It just has to set up properly. So good luck right now, AAPL, whiffling and waffling at that $0.25. Let's see what else is up. For whatever reason here, the Amazon, as Obi likes to call it, really respecting the volume-weighted average price is going on for now the better part of half an hour. We get into that 164.5 area, 4 bottoming tail candles, all of which have respected the volume-weighted average price on a closing basis. So the ZON could be looking, I guess, for maybe a higher low over here because this is the low. The lowest low of the day. We have a low area over here at 164 that holds up, and now we're talking about a VWAP hold at around 164 2/3. So it's incrementally higher lows with a flat top. Where have we seen that? Oh, that's right, Apple. So very similar, higher lows, flat top setups right now on AMZN and Apple. I'm not saying they're going to manifest in the same way, just saying that there is some confluence between them at the moment. So, I love how they put the camera on him right away. Say it again, LB. He doesn't have a bang button. I'll hit it for you. There he is.
I'll hit my version of the bang button.
Ooh, I like. So that is the look there. Tesla did come into my area, but it didn't trigger my alert. So I have this alert over here to jive with this price action resistance and the volume weighted average price. Triple bottom off that 196.50. Now we're at 198. That's a trade I missed, really as a result of placing the alert at the wrong area. So we'll keep tabs on this one. I'm not going to remove that alert. I'm going to leave it, and then we'll see what we get there. Let's flip to some small cap gappers, see what's up with those. Rivian breaking down now. Okay, so it was a great day for RIVN and for EVs in general. We're getting into that $15 level. I wonder if this area ends up holding. Remember, we talked about this. There's a bit of a chasm here between that 1490 area resistance and 15 support. 10 pennies worth of no man's land. So we're at 1502 right now, holding up 15, breaking down though below the 20 exponential on the 5, and now both the 10 and the 20 moving averages starting to point down a little bit. We'll see if we continue to move up. This topping tail candle though could be quite telling, and it actually closed neutral. You can see that because the candle down here is yellow, which means it was neither red nor green. So indecision there, and we're printing lower. Quickly, just looking at everything else over here. Anything afoot? Yeah, Shopify is afoot. It's flying. That's what it's doing. Shopify at highs, $68.01. It's up 6.4% again today. Go Canada, go baby. Love that. We don't have a lot to cheer about these days, Adair, in terms of tech companies, so we'll cheer them when we can get them.
Woo. Go Canada. Shopify killing it, Palantir killing it. I tried to take a Disney short. I took it. Oh, that pulled a Palantir. Didn't work out there. Yeah, I'm happy with how I managed this. I wanted to risk, like I said, into that 16s area because that was clearly the area of support resistance previously. We popped up. Should have gotten out of this basically the second I got in with that bottoming tail candle because I had the order just resting and waiting, and then it got filled. But you know what? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I have to talk about the decision that I am very, very, very heavily considering and kind of doubting.
Oh.
I want a long Lily.
Oh.
Because look at that rounded bottom. Mm-hmm. And I said earlier, well, I don't know if I said this, I liked 837, I liked 867, but I also liked 837 on Lily. And we've retested, look at these bottoming tail candles. And in case you're like, hey, Adara, what about multi-time frames? Look at this 10-minute. This 10-minute is crazy. It's nice confirmation. The 15, also a little confluency, no? So like I said, this is a decision it would pain me to make because I think, like I said, I'm only taking this if the RR makes sense. If I got in at 836.50s, which I think is a fair place to enter it, I would be risking to 834, like 70s, 50s, because that was an area as well. A, support resistance flip. B, it's near the 90 MA currently. C, we've looked into it a couple times. D, we have some support multi-confirmation. Okay, I'm getting long, Lily.
Get it, Adara.
Small position, guys, just to clarify. Teeny tiny position. We're going to go for 51s. We're going to take a really small amount of shares. I don't know if I'm going to get filled, but the spread's getting tighter. I'll be upset if I don't try this. And like I said, that's one of the main indicators I'm trying to use. I'm not chasing this. Clearly, I missed my entry point. We're already flying up here. But you know what? If we get filled, we'll get filled. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait. We have 3 minutes till that auction. And thank you to Day Trader Cut for joining us as a member. Shout out to you. Always giving us the cut. Yeah, don't worry, Day Trader Cut. I've already said, like, we've got that 30-year bond auction. I've been pretty cognizant of that as well. So let's see what we do here on Lily. Should I get filled? Ooh. If not, though, Novo Nordisk, which I did get out of the short, I'm a little bit upset I didn't take the whole piece out there, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. Novo Nordisk is a little, to me, less bullish than Lily, but if it wants to bounce off the 90 MA here after rejecting it, I would take this as a long. If I don't get a Philly on Lily, which, wow, it looks like I'm not going to, I'll have to take Novo Nordisk and I'll risk it into 125.10s. I can live with that. So you know what, Lily? I think we would have to say goodbye in the sunset if you're not going to give me this fill here. I'm a little upset I wasn't more aggressive with this because, and the thing is too, I traded Lily a lot in the sim, and people would be like, oh, like, you know, why would you trade the sim if you're not going to trade it live? The thing is, I didn't know it. I wanted to practice. I would not feel comfortable even considering this trade had I not traded Lily so extensively, arguably too often, in the sim, right? So it gives you that opportunity to work with that stock. Didn't end up working out here, but if we have more opportunities to dip buy, I'm okay with dip buying wherever that next dip is and then risking in to the 837s because you got to find opportunities wherever they lie as long as you are not chasing waterfalls. Novo, I've got eyes on you. Let's wait for a better entry place.
I want to back up your Lily idea here because I want to show you this. This is the fibs from the breakout. So this was the breakout area here where we closed out yesterday.
Yeah.
That's obviously the top.
Yeah.
Look, this yellow line, the golden line, is the 50% line. Adair, we haven't breached that 50% line the entire day. So sometimes the fibs work. Sometimes they mean absolutely bupkis. Today, I feel it's very apt that this level is holding. This $827, $25 area is in no man's land, essentially. So fantastic look for you there, Adara. And if you end up getting in, I wish you all the luck, obviously, on that, because I know that Mademoiselle Lily lives in your heart.
Always.
Yes.
A little, at least a little bit, always.
I'm kidding. Say it again, O.
What'd he say?
He said at least a Lily bit. Adara, that's right down your alley.
Yo, yeah, he's hopping on that pun Lily fad over here. So okay. I always said Obi does not get enough credit for the puns because I feel like he just drops them very stealthily. Like I even said this to Sharif. I was like, when I went on my vacation, I was like, Obi will pick up with the puns. And he's like, does Obi pun? And I was like, yes, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Yes, he does. Do not worry about that. Shout out to Obi. I want to see what Lily does here at 837s because I know I said I didn't want to chase, but from 836.50s to 837s on Lily is not really much of a chase. It's like a cent difference on a normal stock. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, guys, I'm still looking at Apple, and it's still putting in higher lows. I'm still convinced, of the reversion trade. I'm not going to be quick to jump in and get into this, guys. I'm just not, but I'm very, I've seen this song dance before. We're unable to really break into new highs, whiffling and waffling, maybe 10 pennies higher than the previous high. I'm going to wait to take this short. So I'm packing my patience on this one. While I pack my patience on this, let me tell you about Real Trading, guys, because this is the best prop firm around, no question about it. Let me tell you about this one super quick here. Attention, Canadian traders. The Real Trading Campus program is... Hey? We're done? Oh, it's in the, oh, my bad. Why don't we just take it? All right, well, the Real Campus program is off. We should have just done it anyway, Kurt. It's all good, all good. All right, so I guess that ad is done. We'll continue on with the analysis. So let's bring in some of these other names over here and have a look. Okay, so Goggles, there's a whole bunch of respect today between Goggles and the 20 exponential over here. I'm really liking this. Every single time it dips into the 20, it seems to be getting bought up here on GOOGL. It's up 2 2/3. Good look today for Goggles. Not really anything breakout worthy, but very respectful of these moving averages and giving you an opportunity possibly to weasel in. Still lower lows, lower highs ever since printing those 163.69s, that double top there that we put in at 12.05 and 12.10. But I'll be very interested possibly in something off 163. Let's load up Goggles on a trading screen over here so we can possibly take advantage. I want to leave Intel because Intel is still something on my purview, and I want to leave Tesla as well. So we're going to take off MGOL, which is tanking and just dropped below 4. All right, I know that just caught my attention, but yeah, that is one hell of a recovery here off MGOL, retracement, sorry, not recovery, on MGOL. I'm going to leave that one on. I'm going to take off Tesla. So let's load up GOOGL on this one. And we're at 163 now. Okay, so let's have a look here. Goggles.
We got the, sorry, we got the note here. Oh, no, sorry, it's the 4. I'm still seeing the 4 week. Okay, that's a little bit of, wait, where is this coming in here? 30-year, 2.31 versus the previous of 2.3. So a little bit higher than expected there for the note. Sorry, I'll let you continue.
No worries, of course, no problem. So we got some market action there as we got the note, and it was, well, for the moment, not well received. We'll see if this gets bought up. We're down below 18.4 again, 18.3, 18.3675 here. Let's see if we can break this area low. It's a lower high already with this area crest here. There's the area trough. If we break down below, we're already below the 20 already, but we're looking for price action break. We're not getting it so far. Let's look at the Mag 7, see what they're up to. So bottoming tails on Apple, but more weakness on some of these other names. I'm going to be all eyes and ears, baby. If Apple gives way, it's already below 213. There's umpteen amount of topping tails. I'm just worried about all these higher lows. If we give way, I'm going to short the you-know-what out of Apple. I have no problems with that. Lots of weakness coming in here, waiting for this market to either give way or something. NVIDIA also coming down here, guys, so there's some weakness coming in onto these markets. We were just at 104. We got into 102 and change here on NVDA. It's also a lower high. Look for that 102.75 break. That's the area low over here, an area trough. But NVIDIA holding up right now above those levels. So the market, you're not really going either way here. So the auction not, I guess, as influential for volatility at the moment. Let's flip back and see what's afoot with some of these other names. Rivian continuing to give back everything. Rivian is on the way down, guys. So let's, where the hell is my Rivian? There he is. A 1492. It's giving way at 15. This 1490 is the area we talked about on Rivian. So we're about 2 pennies from there. Let's load it up. What am I going to get rid of now? I got to get rid of Intel. All right, whatever. Let's load up 1490. Have a look here on Rivian. This is the area I was looking at, this 1490 area. Are we going to hold up at this area or is it nothing? This is a nothing burger. And there's no size really at 1490, and we're giving way right now, dropping into 89s. Unless this gets a bump up, I'm not going to worry too much about this level here, Adair.
Yeah, sorry, so actually, Dan Emmons, thank you for telling me shout out to Dan Emmons in the chat. I actually read the rate to cover, the bid to cover, not the rate, because I wasn't able to see the rate there, so I apologize for that at the time. Now I see it, it's 4.314%, lower than the previous of a 4.4%. So again, 4.314 versus previous of 4.405. Also, I got into Lily. Woo! I want to talk about it. My heart is beating fast. I'm still in this trade, and I said I want to see what it do for 834.50 on the bid. Look where we're bouncing. 834.50 in the bid. Maybe this should have been my entry point instead of my stop. But I'm not leaving. I am not leaving because Lily is holding this level like a dang glove. And I'm happy I got it, happy I tried it. Honestly, I should have waited until after the auction. But the fact that we get that reauction to the downside and Lily sits right at that area that I was going to stop, I don't mind it. I don't have a reason to leave yet. I might have a reason to leave, but I didn't want to panic sell because I had no reason to. I want to clarify, I'm trying to trade this very responsibly. We have a very small position. We have what I feel for a stock like Lily is a pretty tight stop. So we're going to wait and see what happens. In terms of profit taking, I'll be eyeing what we do at 840s, but my white whale, my Ahab level, if you will, my Moby Dick level is going to be in that 842s. Why 842s? A, I watched the book around there. It got kind of spicy. B, all these wicks here, upside. I don't know. That looks like it could be a little bit spicy as well. So I want to be aware. Jay Lee, I appreciate. I would definitely be adding if A, I was not live, and B, I had the buying power for that. Alas, I am not comfortable adding here. This is the first time trading Lily live. Proud of what I've done with it so far, and I
hope you print.
Thank you very much. I hope so as well. And I feel like, again, like a $2-ish risk here for a reward of minimum like $3.50 maximum. We're looking like $5.50. I'm okay with that. So let's see. I would love to see Lily really get off the schneid here at 835. And I'm watching the SPY as well.
Yeah, same.
With this in mind, because I do think if I'm trading a SPY name, I should be able to, okay, we did drop a bit lower there, so we're going to have to drop out of my Lily. Very happy I attempted to trade. Pleasure doing business with you, Lils. If you want to come back there and give me another level here that I can get involved in, Lily will not be filling me, so I'm going to have to deal with my Lily if you don't mind. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. All right, looking at Apple, it just came back in to the 20 exponential, and the future is on the way down. Adara just mentioning that now. This is the level I was looking at on the NQ September contract to see if we made a newer low. We already have a lower high. We know that the peak there is 18,468. Then we topped out at 18,4 1/3, and we just dropped down. But this is like the minutia with which we have to contend with during the midday. We don't get those outsized moves, so sometimes when you get a breach of a level, it's so minuscule that it means nothing, but you're looking for it anyway. So right now, getting bought up, even though technically on the day we did print a newer low and technically, again, a lower trough, but it's not enough for me to get in. I was looking either for an Apple short at that 20 exponential give or a future short if we gave way at this particular level here, neither of which came in. So I'm not getting into either, and I'm sorry I'm not in a trade, but I'm not going to trade willy-nilly. I'm going to have a proper setup for me to get in. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I know it annoys some people, but that's just the way it is. So I'm keeping an eye. I told you guys on Google. I'm keeping an eye on Apple. I like both of these levels, but they haven't come in yet. What is MGOL doing? It hasn't tanked. All right, so it's whiffling and waffling. Now, my move is to basically get short on MGOL if it comes back into 450 or the volume-weighted average price. This is that kind of flip from resistance to support that we talked about. This one has a beautiful Christmas tree retracement. If it comes back in to test that area of local resistance, previously support, I will get short there. But right now, MGOL is having trouble just even getting back into 4. So yeah, giving a lot back right now, up over 120%. The highs, we cut that down in half. We're about 62.5% right now on MGOL. Intel hasn't given way either way. So 1970 right now acting as an area of local resist or support for INTC. But this is setting up as a possible, again, underline possible head and shoulders pattern here on INTC. What do we need to see? According to the textbook, for the head and shoulder pattern to be valid? Well, it's a reversal pattern. Recall that. So what do we need? We need an uptrend. We got an uptrend. We got the baddest of the uptrends right here. So 1970 gives way. I'm going short. So much do I like that level, even though the market's pumping again. I'm going to go and put it in at the moment. So let's go ahead and put, dang it, I don't want to take off Rivian. INTC. Again, this is a possible short. I'm going to put it at, yeah, we're going to go ahead and look to get short if we break down below 69. So there it is. It's going in. We're going to put it. And
it's an interesting level to choose.
Yeah, you know how it is, Adair. What's life without whimsy, right? So we're going to. All right, I can't even type it. All right, there we go. We're going to give it like 2 pennies worth of range, and then we're going to get short there if it makes its way down. So all the ears, eyes, and the smoke I want on that one. So looking over here quickly to see what else we got, man. Apple's going back into that 213.5 again. Paula, I think you might be right today. Paula Beckford's been, pounding the desk about Apple breakout coming. Me and Paula I was looking at Paula's comments because, I'm obviously involved in this name today. And I think, Paula, you might be right. These higher lows are really the indicative move here. The higher lows with the flat top, 213.5. We may not give way today, Paula, but I think we give way sometime, maybe tomorrow. I don't know, maybe Monday. But right now, 213 and change, dazzling me right now as a possible short. Don't want it to get into that, though. Intel on the way back up. Jay Lee, remember, stink bids. Also try to get 1% or 2% better prices or layer your entry to get better average. Jay, I could not agree with you more. Sometimes I use my resting orders. Sometimes I don't. It really depends on the context. If I'm confident and not too volatile and I'm, the level solid, I'll have a resting order there. If it's not and I need to see it in real time, I won't use a resting order. Paula, I'm not sure anymore. I do see a gap to 219.30. Paula talking about Apple, the 213 general area break and that 219 and change, I believe 30, she said, Paula, gap. Let's have a look at what Paula's talking about. There's the look. So we have this obvious area of local resistance here, 213 up to 214. And then I'm assuming, Paula, this is what you're talking about over here, this top end of the range, that 219 and change. I'd like your levels a lot on that. I think that makes absolute sense. And yeah, let me know how it goes. I don't know if you're involved in a trade, Paula, on it or you're charting. But in any case, let me know how it does go. We're above 18.4 again on the future. I don't know what to do anymore, Adair. I don't have trades here. I don't have trades. What are you looking at?
I understand. I'm going to talk about Lily in a minute because I have quite a lot to say on it, and I'm actually really proud of what I did with it.
Good.
Even though I lost on it, I think sometimes it's not about losing, it's about how you lose. And I think I lost with Lily pretty gracefully, if I say so myself. Nice. I'm not getting the SPY trade, so I'll talk about why I wanted it, and then I'll go to Lily. SPY, I liked 527.70s. We were waffling like that 70s level. Look also, because as well, when I was in the short, I kept taking profit just below 70s because that was an area that was a little bit interesting on the book and on the chart. And I mean, here, if you see the chart too, we had a little bit of a chip chop around that 528, 770s before Quadun King. Happened again here. So I really did like that level. I wait for us to really make a decisive move. Then I set a bid here at 71s. We said 72s, and then we bounced. So I said, SPY doesn't want me here. That's cool. Then I tried for 73. SPY's like, oh, did you mean 528s? I said, no, I did not, SPY, but I respect your hustle. Keep going. I will talk now about Lily, though, because like I said, not a winning trade, but honestly, I would have been really upset had I not tried this. So I want to talk about it. Eli Lilly, I went long here, as I said, really small position, tight risk. I was risking $2, looking to make minimum 3.5, maximum 5.5. And why I like this trade here was because we had this kind of bounce area, A, around that 837, which was a level I liked, and B, I was seeing it hold on the book, on the tape, even with all of the, even with all of this like chop and turn on the book. It was an area that was holding, the spread was getting tighter. I got long. We were like 50 pennies in the money at one point very briefly. Then the auction reaction hit, the re-auction, and we broke lower. We got to my 834.50s. I got out. With slippage, I actually didn't get that much of a hit. And you know what? I took my P&L, like normally don't, just to make sure I like had stuff to trade with still, because it is Lily. And you know what? I am down in the day now. I wouldn't have been without that trade, but I would have been so upset I had not taken this trade. So I'm really happy I tried. And that's one thing I'm realizing too, since hiding the P&L. When you trade not based on P&L, but what trades you really love, and you trade responsibly, that makes a huge difference. And so I'm happy with what I did here. That being said as well, if 834.50s flips from resistance to support, we're kind of seeing a little bit of that here. Bit of multi-time frame confirmation for that as well in this 10-minute. I'd be vaguely curious to take a short, but I might be using Novo Nordisk to trade Lily right now unless the level comes in as strongly as it did before. The point I'm trying to make is even if the ticker seems quote-unquote scary, even if it's one that's a little bit spready, I think if you have a plan, if you stick to that plan, if that plan is on trend, if it makes sense for you, don't worry about if you're up or down in the day. Worry if your mindset is up or down. Worry if this trade makes sense. I'm going to stop lecturing now, but I'm happy with what I did with Lily. And that was, I can't even believe it's already 114.
Can you believe
That's
it?
so excited I got with my Lily. So I'm going to let Lily do her thing 21. We'll see how she's doing after the lesson. Make sure, though, to vote, guys. Any ticker that you're interested in, looking at with Obi and Neil, the Obi Confidence and the Neilage. Get in that chat, exclamation point, join, space, $, whatever tickers are fancy. Also, I want to clarify, I did not coin Neilage. Someone in the chat did in a super chat a while back, and I really liked it. Obi Confidence is all mine, though. I'll take credit for that. But yeah, before we do the lessons, that lesson, what are you looking at here?
I'm in Intel shorted era, so
Nice.
I'm going to give this one a little bit of room. Well, no, that's not correct. I'm giving this one to 1987 generally. I see a bit of local resistance over here at 1984. I'm not, jumping into this with a lot of hope. I see a underlying possible head and shoulders pattern. I'm going to do a 1-to-1 risk to reward over here. We'll get stopped out at 87. We'll look to weather a beak at 73. We'll see what comes on this one. INTC's been a good day for it. It did find support at 1970, generally in that area. But I saw what I saw, and I'm looking possibly here to give way as well to 18.4 in the future. I mean, look, 2.5%, great day for the market. But as we know, as we've seen, these last couple of days, we've given back. Sadly, a lot of these earlier moves on the future, on the Mag 7, if that's the case, then, well, we'll see. Anyway, what the hell was that, bro? Did I just get shot? All right, Randy. You started something, baby. Neil just got messed up.
Obi's reenacting.
Obi's giving him CPR. Oh my God. We got to get it together here. We're doing a show. This is hilarious. Man, this place is the best place to work. I swear to God. Sorry about that, Neil. I didn't mean to do it like that. I apologize. Guys. I did not mean a headshot. But Randy will get a headshot, though, because he hit me first. All right, guys. I'm sorry, guys. I just got hit with an elastic. I had to fire back. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I roll.
Friendly fire, says Neil. Are we sure? Are we sure, Neil Roberts? In the chat, are we sure, Neil?
I think Neil was giving me the elastic, now that I think about it, to fire back at Randy. And then I thought Neil was throwing it at me, so I wanted to exact revenge. And I ended up hitting Neil, not knowing he was a... I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. That's bad on me. That's a bad on me.
I need to explain what just happened, because Randy set up to fire 2 rubber bands while Sharif was talking. The first one missed and landed next to me. So I picked it up. The second one, he got him. Like, look, I got to give my boy a chance to fire back at him. So I tossed it over to Sharif so that he could retaliate. At this point, I'm thinking he's going to fire it at Randy, and I'm not even paying attention. I'm watching my charts, and then boom. I'm hit in the face, friendly fire. This is what happens. I should never do a nice thing again. Ever again. I'm not going to be nice. From now on, it's going to be angry Neil.
Neil, I want to make my apologies very well known. I misread the situation. I thought Neil was contributing to the attacks on me. So, like, I did what a normal person would do, fight back. No, I'm just joking. We're all having a fantastic time on the show. All right, everybody's yelling about Lumen, and I did get stopped out of Intel there, so I lose on Intel. This one looks like it's headed back to the high side, so stopped out as it does break through 1987. Before Dara gets to the lesson du jour, let me quickly look at LUMN because you guys were talking about that in the chat as support. The MACD right now on the LUMN, at least on the 5-minute chart, is looking positive. All right, we're not in oversold territory, overbought territory, excuse me, yet on the RSI. There could be a good chance this retraces into the $0.50. We're at a third of a dollar now. I would say, you know, I don't want to say best case scenario $0.50. That's kind of, you know, not really accurate. I'd like to see what it does at VWAP if it's able to work off the VWAP. But the $5 hold looks really good. Whoever has it off $5, a third of a dollar in the money. But I see that 553, 554, 555 area where VWAP is. And then price action. Now, resistance, if we are to breach VWAP, that's going to be 6.25. Look at these double bottoms. Although beat in the pre, we were not able to break down below 6.25, 6 1/5. So if we clear VWAP, I think this is it's a nice setup into that 6 1/5, 6.25 area. But we're going to get to VWAP first. So, what's his name? Obi just said Apple's going. What's his name? Say my name. Say my name. Here we go. Yeah, we're breaking up. New high of day on AAPL, Paula. 213.91. We're still south the 214 level, but the future was also in very close to the high day, and that helped push Apple Adara into a newer high. So higher lows, higher highs. Maybe it's time for me to change my tune on AAPL and start looking long. I don't know.
Guys, this is the best place to work. I have no words.
Easily.
Just so you guys know, I'm still looking at Lily. Lily in between my two areas. So depending on if it makes a direction, I will enter a trade there. Also, I have 2 dip buys on Crowdstrike. It's kind of ranging. Before I get to listen, just so you guys know in case I get fills there. Lily, there's no resting orders. I do not do that with Lily. But Crowdstrike, I have 2 dip buys I'm almost definitely not going to get. One at 239.16. That's where we have some support at the 90 MA. The other at another area of support here at 238.70s. A little bit of a range forming there, so I want dip buys there, and I'm comfortable letting that run as we do the lesson. Yep. If we get filled, which I don't think we will. So let's talk about analyzing price action before earnings. Because you got your earnings, you're ready to go, you're ready to fling elastic bands at your colleagues' heads, all good. But then how do you know how to play those earnings? Understanding what the price has done before the earnings can help you understand what it might do after the earnings. It can give you some context and a bit of a competitive edge. So we'll talk first about gap ups ahead of earnings and how those pre-earning price actions or price patterns can give you a bit of a POV as to what the market's doing. So gap up is going to occur for a lot of different reasons, but a pre-earnings gap up will often signify high investor expectations. We got investors being like, hey, this thing's reporting soon. I want all that smoke. We saw what Micron did heading into its earnings. That was beautiful. CrowdStrike also ran up into earnings, RIP CrowdStrike. But you know what I mean? They can certainly be a sign like, hey, investors are looking, Kathy and co are looking. We saw Kathy Wood as well buying Hood into its earnings. Yeah. And that, you know, we saw it was under the hood of that. Pretty good look there, 161% year-over-year increase in crypto. So the point I'm trying to make is, that's a true stat. Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make there is, yeah, like you can get you a sense of what institutional buyers are looking at if you look at these gaps as we get into earnings. But also, you want to consider the magnitude of the gap as well as the overall sentiment, because a large gap on low volume could indicate excessive optimism, a little bit too much excitement. If you got a gap with more volume, if it's more sustained, like the gaps Palantir's been giving you lately, those have volume, they have intensity, they are not small. So that's the type of things you want to look for, the size of the gap compared to volume. Here's the Apple pre-earnings gap, right? The pre-earnings gapple. We had the nice gap up here, right? Look at that gap. Then we have another gap, and these have a lot of volume. And so you do have that kind of push up heading into Apple earnings, right? So I think that's a good look. And then it does end up, unfortunately, gapping down. But gap down is another thing to note here as well, because a pre-earnings gap down can indicate negative sentiment or some profit taking ahead of the earnings report. Analysts aren't sure how it's going to go. They're like, oh, I want to stash this. I don't like that. Or they want to profit take. They're like, this could get a little dicey. Let's get my money and run. But it is essential to assess and look at the underlying reasons for the gap, because it might not just be profit taking. There could be other things in play here, right? And a small gap down on high volume could suggest a buying opportunity for those anticipating a positive earnings surprise. You get a lot of people interested, but it doesn't gap down that much. So what if you push higher? Look at Netflix, this big heading into its earnings, 21% gap down, right? Look where we end up pushing higher. So this interesting kind of look here. We got those gap downs on Netflix heading into earnings. Bullish flags here are worth noting as well, bull flags. So a bullish flag preceding earnings can actually be a bit of a bullish sign, because it can, but it is crucial to consider the timing of this bull flag. So if you've got a bull flag forming in the final week before earnings, that can indicate consolidation before potential breakout if those earnings end up being positive. So here's one example. You've got a pre-earnings bull flag here in Apple. I almost said Apple. You got Apple pushing our bull flag, and then it ends up breaking down. And a flag, so right, that's what happened here. We got this literally in the few weeks before earnings with that WWDC Apple intelligence stuff. And the people who are intelligent about Apple were buying it up, all those investors, all those people. And then we end up pushing to the downside after that. So interesting look. Bearish flags, though, are also worth noting, because a bearish flag before earnings can signify, can be a bit of a warning sign, because it can suggest some potential downside pressure. However, you do have to consider and evaluate the overall market conditions and the strength of the downtrend. So it's like, is everything downtrending? Is it just this? Keep everything in mind before you get involved here. So here's one example of a pre-earning bear flag on Caterpillar. We know that Caterpillar kept crawling its way to the upside after those earnings. We got that bear flag with a gap down actually right here. Then we get our earnings and we push, we propel higher. So I think that's interesting too. Also worth noting, this bear flag, not a lot of volume leading into this bear flag. Right, a little bit of a low volume bear flag, then we break out, we get that volume, we get that smoke, and Cat, as Sharif said, has continued to wiggle its little way higher since. So we also want to talk here about the importance of support and resistance, of support and resistance here, because support and resistance levels are really important to help you understand potential price movements around earnings releases. So dynamic support and resistance is a little bit unlike traditional support and resistance levels, because they are a little bit more active, up and jumping like jelly beans, or I don't know, when you have them around earnings season, right? Because we have those moves, we got gaps up, we got gaps down, we got gaps sideways. Things move very differently around earnings, and so your support resistance levels are going to reflect that. You have to keep that in mind, that they can, in fact, shift rapidly due to increased volatility, and market sentiment. Pre-earning support is really important to look at, so you know what kind of levels we might be falling into earnings, right? So you want to identify recent support levels before the earnings report, and if you've got a strong hold above the level, that can indicate bullish sentiment and potential upside if the earnings are positive, but a breakdown below that support could actually see an increased downside risk. If we can't even hold that support, what are we holding on to? Keep in mind, though, when you guys are analyzing this, we did just talk about how dynamic support and resistance can be on these earnings names, so look for multi-time frame confirmation.
Bang.
Also, profit taking is really important to note here too. You can use resistance as a potential profit taking level, or they can act in this way before the earning. After positive earning surprises, because if you have the stop gapping up significantly, the previous resistance level might become a new support level. And then post-earning support and resistance as well is interesting. You do want to be prepared for a potential change in the tides. There are a shift in support resistance levels after the earnings report, because a new trading range might occur there based on the post-earnings price action. And by combining these technical analysis tools and considering the certain context of earnings season, you can help make more informed decisions. So shout out to that. Speaking of earnings, Lily very much back at my level for a long here. I did not get my Crowdstrike fill. I was not even close to getting the Crowdstrike fill. But look at Lily here coming back to that 136. I want to see a couple more bounces here to make sure that this isn't resistance at 837, because it was a bit of a support resistance flip earlier. But that's what I'm trying to say. When you have names, especially names that are a little bit more volatile, I guess in this case, you want to make sure you're constantly assessing the change in support resistance as you see the change in market dynamics. That's always important in the market, but especially when you're trading earnings. And I'm going to stop the spiel now. But shout out to Sharif for preparing these lessons every single day.
Thank you, Adara. Charlie Taft, shout out to you, my man. Tesla, winner, chicken dang dinner. Winner for this guy turned $400 into $800 on a call option. I bought it around 192 this morning. Spin it, absolutely, sir. You don't have to ask me twice to spin the money. Shout out to the Katina men. We're missing him around here. Yeah, look, that's a great trade. But speaking of Tesla, 200 incoming, question mark? Well, we know 200 is incoming because the high is 199.82. And as you see, I've got that alert out, baby. I want to know when Tesla hits 200. Look, the Tesla 200 level, it's great. It's nice, the $100 level. But when you look at the actual price action resistance, it's 202.50, 202.75. This is the zoom out. This is the 5-minute look of August 5th. August 5th, 6th, I'll get it right, 7th and 8th. And as you see, there's a lot of price action resistance at the highs over here with respect to 202.50, 203-ish area, more like 202.50 though. So that's a good look. I'm not going to be quick to short it at 200. I had the alert to know whether or not it hits that 200, but it is on the way up. Tesla strong, 4 1/5. All EVs are strong today, and I won't say all, but the majority of EVs. And there goes the alert. Tesla is breaking up. So is the NQ. I had an 18.5 alert on the NQ, and here it is, 18.497 now on the NASDAQ September contract. We're up almost 3% today, guys. Big boy moves today. Guys, we were down at 17,741. That was the overnight low. We printed that, looks like last night. And now we're up to 18.5. The volatility remains serious. These are crazy up and down moves, but really not breaking out of resistance, not breaking below support. I'm still of the opinion we whiffle, we waffle, we dance, we do everything we need to do until the election. And then I think we find a direction. And it not just with the election, but it also has to do with seasonality. Go and look at last year. It's exactly what we did. We printed highs in July, middle of July. We didn't break those highs till November of that year, of 23. So I think that idea, you know, it may have some merit. We'll see. Apple, 214, not taking anything short at the moment. Everything's at highs right now. We got the Apple 214 touch. We got the Tesla 200 touch. We're weaseling our way into a 105 touch here on NVDA. Lots of strength coming in this market right now to the high side. Meta still stuck in a dang range. I don't know what the hell's going on with Meta here. Bull flag in the morning, printing there at 8:30. Great move up initially. Then we're in a sound wave pattern, right? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. 504 and change is 504 is the area resistance. To the downside, it's really like the 501, maybe 500. So about a $3 or $4 range right now on META. Rejecting on the top end of that range off that 503 and 3/4 touch. Strength in the market everywhere. Here, at least on the Mag 7, let's flip to small caps. MGOL giving everything back. It's on the way down. I have shorts on this one, and I didn't get filled. Thank you, Neil, for getting those to me. I'm sitting here still at 410, and it's going without me. I was looking to reject this area top over here, but once it broke down below 4, it wasn't able to get back into 4. So the move should have been to short 4 and then put my out likely of like 420 or 415, something above that 410 level, because that should have been acting as resistance if we worked our way up there. That's a mistake on my part. Now I'll be looking at 390 for MGOL as it stair steps down. Right, so we have a 390 area consolidation over here. If we work our way up off this 363, high 350s, I'm all eyes, ears, and everything else at 39er or just about into that area. So MGOL giving back everything up over 130 or 120% at the highs, now down to 46%. Intel on the way back to 20. Chips super strong today. This is my only negative name on the day, funny enough. And I have 2 L's on Intel, both one long, one short. This was a great hold there at 1972, 1970 generally, kind of a double bottom. The initial touch there coming at 1230, and then we get the break of that level at around 110. That's what prompted me to get short. I was looking to get in on that move up, but that was the wrong idea. Intel looks like it's coming back into that $20 level. Tesla knocking on the door of 200. It's been up there for a hot minute. If it gives way and breaks down, we'll look to short this name. Apple now above 214. Oh, baby. I had another order, by the way. I put another order there thinking, you know, we may test 200 a couple of times.
We could test less.
Yeah, so I put a way smaller order at 200 than the one that I got on Monday.
Yeah.
But maybe
didn't work
hopefully
out?
we come, well, it didn't trigger yet.
Oh,
maybe
sorry.
it does trigger soon. Saad Mahmoud, In my opinion, you missed that good mogul move. I agree, brother. You're not wrong. The secondary move might not be strong. Dude, I don't disagree with you. Let's show what Saad is talking about over here. Look, this is the move that I should have had. This $4 area resistance, that is a mistake on my part. It wouldn't have been, out of the realm of possibility to go short 4 or high 390s and then put your out above 410. 410 is a local area of support, so it should act as resistance. So that was a mistake on my part. Saad, I think you're right, but that's all that it is to it. Day trader cut, my hands are shaking right now. No, brother. That can't be the case. You got to have a clear mind to think, so you got to drop that heart rate a little bit. Remember, what was that Godfather thing? Remember we always talked about?
Oh, yeah.
Sonny Corleone.
Yeah.
Sonny Corleone, his anger or his emotions clouded his judgment. Don't let emotions cloud your judgment. You got to be dead inside. I don't want you to be dead inside. It's just a thing we say on this desk, guys.
It was something Alfred says that we adopted, yeah. And it has been helpful. Like when I had that SPY short earlier today, I had to I usually would be like hoop and holler, and I was like, no, just let the SPY do its thing, 21. Speaking of the SPY doing its thing, 21, it is pushing higher. DJ Marshall is apparently ready for the short. I know you mentioned a level in that earlier. Right now, I would be kind of just seeing what the SPY does. But right now, Lily, this spread, I forgot how spready she is. And I think she's gotten spreadier, or it's gotten spreadier since that period where I wasn't trading it. I got long again because we were holding that 835.50. And you know what? I know I'm risking here. I know what I'm risking. And the thing is, I still have enough risk to execute this trade. I did check that ahead of time. I was like, can I risk this? Yes, I can. It makes sense. As long as we kind of stay above this 834 area on the bid, I'm cool staying in this. I just do not love the $2 spread right now. That was not the case when I was trying to get filled here. So we'll see what happens. But what I'm seeing that kept me interested in this trade, we have these higher lows. And we do have that push here above that 837, or we've tried to push above 837. 837 is also a little bit of a previous support resistance area. So my theory is flat top break. Novo Nordisk, I think might have given it to you better. So if your pair is trading weight loss names, and I mentioned doing this earlier, I should have probably stuck with Novo. But that's the thing, I didn't have levels in Novo the way I had in Lily. I love this 837 level on Lily here. And look at that pop. We just got higher. Let's go, Lil. Still about 50 cents out of the money. That's how it be with Lily. And that's what I mean where you have to be dead inside. Like if you get stressed out about every little tiny price move in Lily, and I used to, you cannot be happy in this name. Like this name will give you ups, downs, and all arounds. It can the candles on this are, even the 5-minute candles on this, as you can see here, like off the open, a little bit wild. So right now we are almost $1 in the money. We're over $1 in the money here in Lily. I want to see what we do here at 40s, as I said. If we get like a harsh rejection to 837s, we might still be rejecting 837s, but this is why. One thing I want to shout out as well here, we talked about this with Obi and I when Obi was filling in for Sharif in this desk on Friday, and sometimes you're not going to get the first try. You got to try it again. And I know, am I trying a name that is a little bit questionable to try again? For sure. But if my level's still sick, my risk management is still there, I owe it to myself to attempt it again. I want to show out, I know Obi as well, before he had that awesome NVIDIA short, which then it flipped to that awesome long. He had another short as well earlier that I think it canceled like right off the open and then was able to get back in it. So I want to show that out because if at first you don't succeed within reason, within levels, try again. I don't want to clarify, that's not always going to be the case, right? You want to make decisions that make sense. But I'm really happy here with this Lily. I'm going to let her cook a little bit. SPY, though, because I meant to show the SPY, and then Lily was having a moment, so I switched to Lily. I still got eyes on the Lily book, so we are good there. But look at the SPY here. DJ Marshall might be right about that SPY 530 area. I want to shout you out because you did have that area. We popped into 530. Wow. Woo. This support around 527s in the SPY. Definitely should have had better SPYs on that for scalping. Pushing higher here, though. Good look for the S&P 500. But I do see what DJ Marshall means about this 530. We're seeing some wiffle waffle on the book and in the tape at 530. So that's something I'm going to be aware of as someone who always has the SPY book and chart up for scalp opportunities. But also, if there's any opportunities, scalping or otherwise, in the market you're looking at that you're like, hey, I wonder what Neil and or Obi would have to say about it. There's a way you could get that question answered potentially if there's enough votes. Get in that chat, @ join space, $, whatever tickers your fancy. Put that in the chat. Lily, $2 in the money. As we get closer here to that 540, I'm going to have to assess this. This is You gotta risk things. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Really proud I got back in this after it didn't work out the first time because I still had levels I liked. Is this a weird name to day trade? For sure. But sometimes things can be weird and wonderful. I'm gonna try to chill out here and take this trade. If you don't mind, I'm gonna babysit Lily for a bit here. Thank you so much, everyone, for being in this chat. I love this community and I love sitting on this.
I'm very happy for that trade. I think it was a solid trade. Kill it. Absolutely destroy that trade. I hope all the like there. All right. I want to shout out Day Trader Cut. I was waxing poetic to use in a dare term, like, oh, you got to calm down, emotions, this and that. He's like, my man, it ain't about that. I broke my daily profit I've ever made in a day, so that's why. He goes on to say before that, he's like, no, I already sold. I made bank. And now my hands are shaking. I'm cash now. Shout out to you, my man. We're spending the money for you. We're going to spend the money for Adara. I don't want to jinx her trade, but that's a fantastic trade. Shout out to Day Trader Cut as well. Very happy for you, my man. I hope you continue to print up a storm and the days just get better as you improve. All right, Apple's tanking. And the market just got into 18.5. And now we're not tanking off that, obviously, but we are below 18.5. So I'm looking for a possible entry. We have Tesla at 200, but it's not really breaking down. NVIDIA, 105, dilly-dallying around there. Meta, right back into that top end of the range that we were talking about earlier, that mid 504s. It's at the high end of the range, 504.61. That's another possible play. So many different names possibly setting up right now. Apple coming into the 10 exponential, but it's really kind of only used it a few times. The better trades, in my humble opinion, have been off the 20. You can see these bottoming tails coming into the yellow line. That is a 20 exponential on my chart. It's now below 214, coming into that 213.75. There is price action support, not indicator support, price action support generally at that $0.50. So if we breach the 10 exponential, you're not going to see me quickly short or anything like that. I want to see what it does with respect to the price action. I'm going through all these. I'm sorry, I'm not focusing on one. I'm always on the Mag 7 in general. Here we go again with TSLA coming back into 200. It put a couple of bottoming tails. If you zoom out a little bit, bottoming tail candles there. Really not much in the way of movement through that level at the moment, but good look on a lot of these names. What do we get into? They're all at areas right now where I don't want them. All right, 18.5 again on the future getting taken, so good look there. Let's look at Intel. It just touched 20 again and another move back down on that. So that's acting as a local area of resistance, it looks like, even though 2011 is the high at day. Yeah. What's everybody else looking at? Throw some names into the chat. Gonzalo G, Meta, let's go. Yeah, shout out to you, my man, because Meta just printed another high a day up into that 504.99. So this is as good as Meta's done on the day. Here comes that 505. I wonder if we blow through that or whether that's the line in the sand. Keep on letting me know, let everybody else know as well. Stacks says crowd could be a double top if it doesn't break. Let's have a look at what Stacks is talking about. I like saying that name that way. Stacks. Yeah, Stacks. I'm like, oh, let me move this out of the way. Here we go. What was the name? Crowd. All right. Double top, possibly. All right, so we topping tail candle here at 12.10 into that 241.15. We're at that here right now, but my submission to you would be, Stacks, these higher lows maybe more operative than this flat top 214 and 241, excuse me, and change. I need to see lower lows, and especially the respect that this has with the 10 exponential. I wouldn't be so quick to short that. I'd need an area break. And there's also support, by the way. This area resistance over here, 238, ends up acting as support on crowd. So keep that in mind as well before you just jump into the short. 505 rejecting a little bit here on META, and now we're getting a little bit of weakness in these Mag 7s. It looks like Tesla breaking that $0.50 off that 199 or coming down. We're still above 18.5 on the future, above the 10 exponential on this Apple trade. Adara, how's it going over there?
It's going well in Lily. We did not get a Philly here. Like I said, I wanted to see what we did at 840s. We got to like 838s, then we pushed a little bit lower. Then we were waiting here for quite a bit at the 836.50s. getting higher lows in the bid. I was like, oh, we're going to pop higher. Then we drop right back into my entry price, a few pennies below my entry price. I'm chilling with Lily. Also want to shout out Rich Law, who put Young Money Lillionaire in the chat. Hopefully, we're not with this position size, that's not going to happen. But happy, like I said, I'd rather you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, you miss 100% of the trades you don't make. And Novo Nordisk, definitely, like of the two of them, probably a cleaner pattern, but depends on what type of trader you are and what you're willing to risk, right? R&R, the risk to reward in Lily does make sense, even if I get out at 530 or 838s instead of 840s. If I get out 538s, it's horrible RR, and I should be taken outside. Like, what are you doing? Lily, that'd be bad. But we're pushing back up higher in Lily, and that's, I think, patience. Shout out to Bears vs. Bulls, always says patience, PAYTIEN. So good look there. Also, this reminded me too, I just looked at the side chart, and I remember someone was looking at this name earlier, this thing while I was doing the lesson. Disney. Definitely got a little, to use a Nealism, got off the schneid route of Lily. Took like about $2.50 there in Lily. But Disney here, look at that VWAP bounce. It's a great look here. We kind of run into a bit of resistance at that previous level of chop and turn here at 85.20. Come back down to VWAP, and then Disney's like, oh, right, stocks and go up. I can do that. So it pushed even higher. We're above that 85.60s area, which I talked about earlier today was a massive area of resistance, and I would argue the top of that really brief range we had. So good look here for D to the I to the S. What other stocks are people looking at here as we wait for that afternoon segment where we look at all of the stocks you want, as brought to you by Real Trading. Sound, says Manny Fresh, and you know what? Let's see how the Sound Hounds are baying today, because Sound actually does have earnings tonight.
Oh, nice.
So that I actually think is a really good one to look at today ahead of earnings. They were gapping up today, but they didn't make the watch list because everything and their mother's cousin had earnings last night. So we had to look at some of those.
Uh-oh, that's the first one, I think.
This is the first one because they've been more silent. But Sharif, look at this $5 level. A, it's a $5 level. B, wicks above here, come below. Brief move up here, higher lows. We're trying to bull flag with a base.
Two
at
bull flags
5.
is what I see there.
You're right, there's
Initial
two.
and the second one.
Initial and then the second. This is a great look here in Sound. Let's look at the daily chart. I know you once were banging with the Sound Hounds way back in February or March or something.
Yeah.
What a day.
Before
that
NVIDIA.
Was.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, or right after, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So 520, a bit of an area here of resistance, bit of support here on the chart at 390. Let's see what we do here in SoundHound. Generally, though, a little bit of higher lows since that 6.4, which I'm guessing was one of SoundHound's many little pops. Those are areas I'd be aware of. But yeah, see what we do at 520s if we can break above that. Right now, though, I love that $5 support in the daily chart. Let's see if it holds as we end our earnings eve, as Obi would put it. Happy with Lily. I don't want to rush myself into another trade, but where's the next trade? You know what I mean? Where is the next trade, Sharif?
Yes.
And there still could be more because this show is, we still have 15 more minutes. The SPY is at a whole dollar level, which we know I like those for scalping. Let's look at life. What a day, Sharif.
Yeah, it's a great day, Adara. And we're putting in higher lows now on the NQ September contract. I'm looking at my side chart. So we're not clearing 18.5 like with any vigor, but I'm trying to get a grip on what to expect with some of these Mag 7 movements. And I like what I see right now from Tesla. I like what I'm seeing from the Future. And I'm also liking what I'm seeing on the dead one, Apple, as it's holding up at the 10 exponential. This is an interesting area here. So I can just risk about 10 pennies. Well, I don't know if that would be the right thing. I don't want to risk if this is not an A+ setup. We're not clearing on the Future. With any, well, here we are. Okay, so this is interesting here on the dead one. Let's go long. We'll see if we can get long. Yeah, we're long at 80s here on AAPL. My out is going to be the break of 67. Oh, wow, we're already printing on this. Okay, so we're going to have to wet our beak here, see if we can get something up there. And during that, I can put out my stops. So go like that, and then we'll go like this. Oh, no, it's going against me now. That's not good. There we go.
That's not good. That's not good. It was the tone that killed me there.
Well, I was trying to get a little ambitious. But, yeah, we'll leave that one. Let's let that cook. New high of day on the NQ September DANG contract. 18.525. I like 525. You know why?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yes.
That's confluence for you.
Yeah. So we wet our beak on Apple. It comes right back down. If it's, I got to change my my stop. Otherwise, I'll flip short on this. Let's go like this. And then, yeah, we're going to go like this. So that's fine. 50. Good. So we'll let that one run. See if we can let it run a little bit or get stopped out for the remaining amount. We're still at 105 on NVIDIA, guys. NVIDIA hasn't broken 105, and it's been hanging out there for a while. So let's flip to NVIDIA quickly, see what, okay, well, there it goes. As quickly as NVIDIA was rejecting 105, and as quickly as now we're clearing it with aggression. 105.15, like the tape is really moving here as we breach that key area of resistance. Not saying that it was like, you know, something that I charted, knew all about, but it was definitely something I had been looking at midday now. Let's see that 18,525 on the future can help propel NVIDIA up aside a little bit here and hold 105. Simultaneously looking at TSLA, it's having all sorts of trouble with this $200 level. 199.95 is the high of the day. It's not clearing it with any aggression, but it is holding on the 5-minute, the 10 exponential. So strong at the moment right now. NVIDIA not giving way. Let me show you exactly what I'm looking at over here. And there does seem to be this area support. So this area that we rejected off earlier here on TSLA, this was around 11 o'clock. We double topped at 199.40, 199.5. We come back after clearing that. We're trying to hold that level. We'll see if it holds up or whether it gives way. It looks like I will get stopped out of Apple here for the remaining amount as we drop down. Let's go back into the dead one over here, see what's afoot. So we are dipping into 70s. If we break down below my area, that's going to be the end of that. We're 65, still holding the 10 exponential, but not really clearing it. Packing my patience on this trade, see what we can get. What are you looking at, Adara?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking at Lily. I don't want to hop back in this, but there is, you know, I don't want to clarify. I'm not upset I got it where I did. Took $2.50, like, you know, did what I had to do here on Lily. But, you know, as a trader, you're always like, how could I push farther? I arguably could have waited for 840s. I didn't, whatever. But also then I go back and I'm seeing higher lows in the book still and tons of multi-time frame confirmation. Now, Lily, I was looking at this at 837s. We have 837.01s. Then the next move up in the bid, 837.02s, 837.03s. Lily does not move like that. I should have gotten right back in the long, but instead I dilly-dallied, wasn't able to get my fill. If we come back here and we bounce again here at like mid-837s, I will get long here. I'll risk into 836s. I know I took profit in the last trade, but I don't want to get greedy here. But the thing is, too, if I like the trade and I like the setup, and I mean, look at all of, like, this looks great on every time frame, Lily, and I would argue, even argue it looks better now than it does when I first got involved, or, you know, when I had that last trade there, right? So I think you always want to make sure, how can I get back involved? How can I, like, make sure I don't rest on those ideas? I definitely have been guilty, and I've talked about this, of having good levels on things and just letting it go because you get distracted by other moves. If something is giving you a defined, sustained move, like Eli Lilly is, I do owe it. I think I owe it to keep eyes on that. But also what's fascinating here is sometimes as well when things are moving very counter trend to the rest of the market. That's something, and this one thing I remember like really early on, Neil told me, because I was on the midday and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Micron's moving down here, the rest of the market's moving up, like, oh, short. And I didn't take the short. And afterwards, Neil told me, he's like, hey, like, just like you had that moving really counter trend. Next time you see stuff like that, like that's just worth noting, that's kind of significant, right? So IWM here, look at all of these red candles in the 5-minute. And also, now I think it's going to probably make me out to be a liar. Thanks, Iwim. But Iwim, the book at 206.50 has been so dicey. We get there and we struggle. Now we might flip from support to resistance here in that 206.50, but I don't mind the idea of this as a very quick scalp short. If it manifests, I'm definitely not going to be able to get back on that Lily long. Happy I took that one, though. Very pleased as punch. I was able to be profitable in that. And I think that shows if you like an idea, if you commit to that idea, go for it. IWM, if you want to flip long now here, 206.50s, that is not a bad look at all. Nice look there. Novo Nordisk also pushing higher. IWM, what isn't pushing higher, Sharif, would be the better question. Apple maybe actually might be the answer to that question. So we've got the Apple one, the dead one, as Sharif calls it here. And the dead one nicely pushed above that 213 area. We're like, oh, 213, Apple's like, what do you mean? Popped above. Nice little look there for the Apple one. It is pushing below the 90 MA. I don't want to take a trade just to take a trade, but if we stay below the 90 MA in this 213.60s here, I'm going to scalp this Apple short. But IWM also moving down here. I had better levels in IWM. I'm taking IWM scalp short, Sharif. What are you doing?
Kill it, Adara. Yeah, get it. I'll look over here. I'm looking at the future. I got stopped out of the last little bit that I had on my Apple trade as it did breach 60. So we're out of that. I'm going to be looking possibly because Apple's been respecting the 20 more than the 10 on the day. And that's kind of clear with how these troughs have acted. So over here, we had multiple bounces off the 20. Here we go, breaching the 10 again, but that's not new. Let's see if what we get at the third of a dollar. So we're breaching below the $0.50 now. Here comes the third of a dollar, but we've got wicks below the 20. Just hasn't been, hey, let me bounce exactly off the 20. So pack your patience, and if you're going to long this, keep your eye on the future. We have kind of an inverse hammer candle right now for, not even, I don't want to micro analyze this. We're above 18.5 on the future. If we drop below 18.5, then we'll have a different conversation. For the moment, though, we're still bouncing. And there it is, Apple bouncing off the 20. What a surprise there. So locally, doesn't mean that it's going to continue to hold up at that level. And there is price action support at that 213.41. We'll see if the dead one can give some back over here. I've been of the opinion that this 213, 214 area is still a local level of resistance until Apple takes it aggressively. And it hasn't, okay? That's just the fact of the matter. This is the level on the half an hour that we've been talking about, waxing poetic about that all the day long. Let's see what else we got over here. Yeah, Apple's right off that 20 exponential, so that's a mistake on my part. Yeah, that would have been really nice. That would have been a 30-penny winner so quickly off that, but alas, that's all good. We'll let you know that voting is now done for the day, but for tomorrow, we have obviously another show. Make sure that if you want to know what the big kahunas are trading or how they would have traded, the name that you want to know, get into the chat every day between 11 and 1:50, just 10 minutes before the show ends, and vote for your ticker. I'm going to go in and vote for right now. I'm going to vote for TSLA. So the way that I do that, and I'll bring up the chat over here, Fabian, so I can show them. There we go. Here it is. Exclamation point, the word join, space, $, and we're going to type in, what should I type in, Fabian? Which one should I vote for? Huh? What is that?
Altria. MO.
MO, Altria. Okay, sure, Fabian. We'll do that. I'm wasting my voice, but it's all good. Shout out. Egypt, Morocco, 6-0. Morocco beat Egypt 6-0. Damn, that's not good. Glenn Smith, can you do a tape read on Tesla, please? Would like to know what you are seeing and why the price is hung like that. Yeah, sometimes you're going to get bamboozled, though, by the tape because you're not going to see the full picture. It looks like Apple is really moving up off that 20. I feel really silly for not taking that. But let's load up the tape on TSLA. And here it is, my man. Look, I'm looking. I'm not seeing anything above 6 lots. Oh, well, here's one with 10 lots. So, yeah, the tape, sometimes it can be informative. Sometimes it can't. The book. What I would say is you got to look at the tape. And then you can do things like Obi does, for example. What he does and what a lot of other traders do, they'll filter out the size. So you see this area over here where it says SZ, and that's the actual amount per order that's coming through. So a lot of the traders, what they want to do is they want notice of the large trades. So say, anything above 500 shares, 1,000 shares, for example. So they'll filter this particular setting to show them only the trades that are coming above 500, above 1,000. And they'll have two kind of time and sales. They'll have one that shows them everything, and they'll have one that shows them only the big size. So maybe you can try employing that, help you read the book a bit, or get a better feel for the stock. But the book, as you can see right now, I'm showing you, there's not anything larger than 8 lots at any moment in time. So it's not as informative as I think it could be at that level. So that is my look there, Adair.
Yeah, so IWM should have scalped it a little bit better. We did have a little bit of a bounce at the 90 MA. Took out profit, though, for part of this. We're half this position. I'd like to see us get back lower. If we get back to 206, 39s, like 40s, and reject, because that was a bit of an area we waffled with, I will be adding, and I will take this to the downside as the show ends. Am I having a little bit of FOMO for not getting back at the Lily trade? A little bit, but I want to clarify, I'm not upset I got out where I did. I'm upset that I watched that beautiful 837 hold. Gorgeous. I've never seen Lily hold in the book like that. And I was just like, oh, that's cool, and did not act on it. That is what upsets me, but you know what? That's what journals are for. Where's the next trade? I didn't want to FOMO into Lily, and I'm happy I didn't. Had my trade that worked out on it. Pleased as punch. And honestly, happy I took that second risk, because you know what? That's the thing, right? Risks are made to be taken. Nova Nordisk didn't work out as well for me, although actually, if you're looking in terms of profit, Nova Nordisk would have been the better trade. And now Lily gives me the 840s I was waiting for, but it's all good, baby. Happy with the trade I took and ready for tomorrow. Also, Nova Nordisk, that's what I think too sometimes matters. It's like you don't want to trade P&L, you want to trade like what makes sense for you, right? If I was trading P&L, I would have taken Nova Nordisk because Nova Nordisk, A, much smaller spread, B, cheaper name, you could take more shares, and C, cleaner move. But I had better levels on Lily, I took Lily, and I stand by that, and I'm really excited to aggressively journal tonight to learn more. Sound, says Daniel Melendez. Yeah, I still like that $5 level in Sound. I'm going to stick with that. Shout out to Paradox, who got out of Lily at 840. Shout out to you. Happy you were able to take that trade with me. Definitely got a better exit price than me, so shout out to you for that. Also, I have been vaguely interested in a 9 EMA breakdown on Palantir all day, and I never took it because it never made sense to take. And now, as the day's over, Palantir's like, oh, hey, Adara, remember me? Remember how you wanted to take me as a breakdown? I'm like, yes, Palantir, I do. But that doesn't really make sense right now, does it? The show is ending. It's not going to give you that kind of scalpy move like you'd get with IWM. That being said, I do love this 29.13 breakdown here in Palantir. This is gorgeous. I would love to see what it does here to 28.90s, but it's not a move I'm going to take heading into the end of the show. The only scalps I'm going to be taking right now are potentially adding into my EOM, which is, I guess, not really a scalp at this point. I've kind of let that thing sit. But also the SPY. We like the SPY to hold lower levels, or at least I do when I say we. And look at the SPY getting near that 520 or that 530 area. If we get decisively below that 530, a little bit on that basis, I'm going to be taking this as a short scalp to head into the end of the day there. Cannot believe the day is almost over. It is 1:58. What a day we've had. I hope you guys have had as much fun trading these markets as we have. Also, it is funny because I remember Obi this morning was saying on the show, Adara wore red, and then the market started going down right as 11 hit. It's interesting that as I leave the midday today, and today I'm wearing green, we're actually seeing a bit of a move down in the market. So I don't want to assume the market is based on my clothes, but it is pretty funny, so I wanted to shout that out there. What's the temperature in Toronto? Today in Toronto, says Eddie R. Here it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a little bit cooler today, but I don't mind. I walk, so I'm cool with that cold weather. Marie Lyman saying I'm predicting the market with my outfit colors. I have no idea if I am, but right now we're getting a little bit of bounce here in EWIM. SPY continuing to range here around that 530 area. Lots to SPY on this market today, that's for sure. But right now, we're going to, my outfit's green, and also so is that screen. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to move in to the rest of the day and this afternoon show in this segment brought to you by Real Trading. I hope you guys had as much fun today as we did, because it has been it's been a great time. So we're going to head over to that green screen very soon. We will see you tomorrow. The same bat time, same bat channel. Shout out to you, Bears vs. Bulls, for everything you do. Hope you've been killing it today. Hope everyone's been printing today, as we always say over here. But right now, we're going to go print our way over to Sharif on the green screen. See you guys tomorrow.
Welcome to the afternoon rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Obi and Neil, they're locked, they're loaded, they're ready to take the names as decided by you. So join Adara and I on the How to Trade Midday Show and get into that chat. Vote, join, talk up a storm. Make sure you're voting every day, or we won't look at the names as selected